Athanor. Our home. Our ruin. We could not see, no, refused to see the beauty that lay before us, blinded by our rage and greed. So we fight. It's all we know. To preserve what little we have. To save us from ourselves. We cannot afford to fail.
Welcome to the Arena of Valor non-pro tournaments live from Katowice in Poland. Arena of Valor is the world's biggest mobile game with over 200 million registered players, and it's available to you on both iOS and Android. And the non-pro tournament, well, the NPT is where 6 proud European nations are fighting over a 5-week season to compete at DreamHack Winter for a $100,000 prize pool. Those 6 countries are Germany, France, Sweden, Spain, UK and Italy. They each have 2 teams. One of players who fought through ESL Play's online qualifiers to be here. The other team, streamers, gamers and content creators, some of whom you might recognize, a couple of whom are with Rene right now on our desk over there.
Thanks, Matt, and welcome to the analyst desk at the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament. My name did not change since last week. It's still Rene Butler, and my guests are nearly the same since last week. Welcome back, Drage, and welcome Forsen, the guy that the whole Twitch chat was asking for last week. Hope you like it over here again.
Well, we're about to find out. It seems like a new opportunity to cast some or analyze some games.
It's great to have you back, Drage, because I'm really happy that you thought it was so good you will come back.
Yeah, and I upgraded my dressing as well, so I'm really happy for that. Yeah, it's nice to be back, actually.
Yeah, it is Sweden coming back for the 2nd week of the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament. They are the first team to do that back-to-back in our arena over here in Poland. And to remind you guys about the format, Matt got something prepared for you.
I don't think Lobo can stop him. I think he's going to be able to cheese this. And he totally does. That's going to be an easy victory for France. I don't know.
This just leaves you speechless, right? Gonna be game 2, going over to the Swedish side in a spectacular finish.
Guess what? I was a bit too fast. That was week 1 recap, not the format. Totally missed it here. But you didn't miss it. That's what's the important part. Last week, week number 1 of our tournament, we saw your team actually scoring the first 3 points for Sweden, and the NP team they didn't really manage to do so. France was taking another 3 points, and no team that started on 6 points. How was that?
It felt really good taking the win as influencers. Too bad our other Swedish team didn't quite get there, but we're cheering for them this time around.
I think the French team was really good, the non-pro team. So no shame in losing towards them.
We saw a bit in the NP game. It seems like no chance to actually change the winner. But in your match, at least the second game, France was actually trying to come back mid-game. We saw them really taking a lot of fights, winning a lot of fights, but not turning it into objectives. Did you guys learn from that game for next time? Because at one point you might give it away there, right?
Well, I learned to not listen too much of this guy when we were picking.
Oh,
you
yeah.
failed, man. You said that thing about Batman.
Yeah,
I blame you.
We did fail in the picking phase. That's on me, for sure. But I mean, we were a bit overconfident going into the second game as well. We were picking different heroes and just having fun more than trying to win. But in the end, we won anyway, so...
Yeah, we should all have fun and we should enjoy the game while also winning. I'm just happy that I'm not the only one at the desk then that did mistakes. Forsen did one last week, I did one this week. But now we got the format with Matt, so you can catch up what's going on in the non-pro tournament.
Yeah, thanks, Rene. Let's do the format now. And we'll leave the bits on the desk to the desk. How's this whole thing work at the NPT? Well, I told you, there are 6 European countries involved, and each one has 2 teams. One team of influence, streamers and gamers and content creators like these fine guys on the desk. They are going to be competing for each country against 2 other countries, and that action is all going to happen here in the studio. Then each country also has a team of NPTs, the non-pros. These are guys who fought like you through ESL Play, playing online, getting picked to be here. These teams of 5 are going to compete against every other country's team of NPTs in a round robin. All of that action will be brought to you, some of the games live in the studio, but we'll bring you highlights of the ones that happened online as well. Everybody gets 3 points for a win towards their country. And in the countries with the most points, the top 4, they'll all be going to DreamHack Winter for that $100,000 prize pool. And as you can see, 4 countries all tied for the lead at the moment. Everybody on 3 except for the UK and Italy, the 2 teams who didn't manage to win a match in week 1. This, though, is week 2, and it is Sweden and Italy who will be joining us here in the studio. We'll show you the highlights of the online games between the other teams, but 2 matches to look forward to, both best of 3s. Sweden against Italy, time to get some points on the board if you're the Italian team, time to cement your position if you're Sweden. Let's go back over to our desk and see what they're expecting.
6 points up for grabs today and split on 2 matches. Once again, the schedule for you guys so you know when to cheer for which team. And we'll start off with the non-pro teams going head-to-head. First, Italy versus Sweden, and then we'll see the internet celebrities. So that's the second time for the Swedish influencer team to be able to score points. The first time where we see the Italians over here at our arena, talking about all the different countries, all the different regions. Now that we started the NPT, and we see all 6 countries playing in it, did it change your country when it comes to Arena of Valor? Do you feel like it's growing due to an event being held?
I'm looking at Forsen to start. I'll let you start. I just flamed you, man. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, we only done this event once before, so you can't expect it to change that rapidly. But I think it's getting there, for sure. Also for this week we have our roster change as well in our team, so that's we're not quite, everyone is not quite comfortable with the roles yet that we have, but we'll see what happens.
Am I supposed to say something more? He's perfect.
I thought
There's
you wanted to
nothing
say
to add
something.
to that. He's perfect. I'm telling you.
I'm pretty perfect.
Now, but of course, with the influencers playing the game, it's gonna affect how people see the game as well. I've had a few people reaching out to me saying, "Well, I tried the game. I wasn't expecting much, but damn, it's actually fun." So. In that matter, definitely, of course, it's gonna make people think that you can actually play from the cell phone, which is like the center of the problem, right? People think that you have to do esports from a computer, and maybe that's about to change.
Yeah, we know that Arena of Valor is available on iOS and Android, so you can play it on pad, on your phone, all around the world, basically. And we know that you guys travel here. Was it a chance for you? Because I know that you're all busy. But when you come over here, do you use that time of travel to catch up on Arena of Valor? We know that there are new heroes, new patches coming out, stuff like that. Is that your time to catch up and practice?
Yeah, I mean, travel is perfect for practice, and also I try to squeeze in a couple of hours before bed as well into bed playing, which you can't really do with a computer. So in that way, it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, when we arrive here and we are all 5, when we can just start playing together at once, you can't really do that if you bring 5 computers in the same sense. It goes fast, so that's nice. But we could have practiced more, I think, Forshan. I don't know if you agree.
I do agree, actually.
Yeah.
But then again, we're Sweden, so
Yeah,
we're pretty good.
We're pretty good. Yeah.
Don't worry, next time we just get you guys flights from, like we just send you over the world so you've got more time on travel to practice, and we make sure that you're all in the same plane.
Make sure it's a Wi-Fi on the plane then. That's really important.
It's not that common in Europe, that's
No.
true. We need more Wi-Fi because we want to play Arena of Valor 5v5 on a plane. That would be something I was really dreaming about, but currently all my planes don't have any Wi-Fi. It's kind of sad. But we want to get into one of the games, and it will be the NP, the non-pro teams, going first. But for that, we actually need them here in the arena. So please welcome the teams.
I play Arena of Valor since August, like 2 months ago. I download it and play with my friend. I think it is a really good game, and I really like it. If I have more time to play, I can play 24 hours if I can. But we need it for work and stay with family, and I play when I can. I got free time. I'm really happy to represent my country, Italy, and I will do the best for win the first place. I think the score will be 2-0, and I will do the best with my team.
Bringing Italy to the arena for our non-pro team. Yilu from Venezia plays regularly as Krisht. He is LY. Alejandro Zhao from Firenze, regularly getting the kills in as Zephyrus. This is unnamed. Yet from Catania. We'll see him as Nakroth. He plays as Sabo. Jiang Liu is here from the proud town of Prato in Italy. This man, he's the Batman. He is Morris. And completing Italy's lineup, Yahao Chun from Rovigo. Regularly as Talianas, this man is only one. Welcome for Arena of Valor, the Italian NPTs.
Representing my country, I think it's a great honor, and it's always fun to represent Sweden internationally. So I hope we're gonna do our best and don't let them down.
It's a great opportunity to be on the stage for esport. It's my first time doing an offline event, and it's amazing. Everything is just awesome.
One thing I think we have as an advantage is we have the experience of being in the studio, and we don't gonna feel the same pressure as last time.
I think this time we're not gonna be nervous when we walk onto stage.
So I think that's gonna be an advantage, and we now know how competitive it is and how to play this kind of games. Of course, we feel a little bit disappointed about the last time. We came here with a lot of hunger and ambition.
The reason that we lost was because we were scared to make mistakes.
But the boys and we have trained a lot, and I think we're a stronger team this time.
Don't want to tell you the tactics, but we have practiced some new things, kind of aggressive play style. So I think that will help us to win against the Italian team.
we have checked their style and we see they are good players, so we're gonna obviously play with respect the opponents, but we're still gonna go for it and try to win the game. I think I will do this in the future because as I get a little taste of this, I want to experience it more, so probably yes. My expectation is like, I think probably 2-1 to us. I think it's gonna be a hard game, but I hope we're gonna come through.
I think the score will be 2-0 for Sweden, easy.
So it looks bright actually.
Looking for points after their loss last week, Erik Svensson, one of Sweden's players from Gothenburg. His favourite hero is Thane, Shelby 2.0. Oscar Nilsson from Gothenburg's favourite hero, Crixie. We know this man as Ogre. Christian Arroyo from Gothenburg, playing as Zephys. We need to get him off that phone and onto the game. Dope Lobo! Martin Hansen completing 4 players from Gothenburg. We see him killing away as Violet Hassaman. And completing Team Sweden, Martin Gustafsson, here from Malmo, regularly playing as Alice Mara. Welcome to the arena, Team Sweden!
I'm pretty sure there are other cities available than Gothenburg in Sweden. Oh, I didn't know I went there yet, but I'm pretty sure you got other cities, right?
Then Gothenburg?
Yeah.
Some other, I think.
We have the
Well, your
most
place.
important one. Stockholm. It's capital of Scandinavia.
Is that the most important one?
Yeah,
well,
I would say so.
Let's not discuss that.
Yeah, we shouldn't argue about that right now. Stockholm is important or not. But does it help your team that they all come from the same city?
I have actually not thought about that before. When you said it, it came to me. Of course, I think that's a good thing. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they know each other a little bit from before as well, so that obviously helps.
We know that both teams come out of lost games from last week, Italy and Sweden. They both lost their matches. Is it a huge difference now that Sweden is the second time in the arena? They lost last time, they know what went wrong. Can they build up on that, or is it still a disadvantage not coming out of the win?
I guess you have more pressure coming into this match and knowing that you lost the previous one and you really want to, make Sweden proud. So in that way, it can actually be worse for the team having a loss before. You don't have the confidence. You are maybe fumbling, fat fingering, because you're nervous. So I think it can be quite bad. But let's hope they have like a good mindset coming into this and practice a lot before. And
I'm thinking it could be the opposite as well, that you really hunger for a win and that you come in with the right attitude. And I kind of have that feeling regarding this team. One of the players, though, wasn't here last week, so it's a little bit new for them as well. He said that they had the experience of being on stage. Yes, 4 of them have, not 5.
That's true. They switched out Kickstar from last week, so the support is not with us for this week. Obviously, not for the rest of the season as far as we know. Until yet, but it might make a difference. They have been on the arena so far. Italy didn't. It's the first time for them to be here with us in Poland, so of course we took both teams again and sent them on a bit of team building.
When we came here, we got a surprise and going to Jump City, and it was pretty fun. A little bit more rough and sweaty, but we liked it a lot. Do some tactical thinking about how we should shoot and stuff, because the French team were very good at bowling, and they throw the ball a little bit different than we did. So we focused to maybe do the same thing that they did. We prefer dodgeball and this jumping thing. It was very fun. Especially the dodgeball. When we played against the Italian team, we won pretty easy, and we hope to do that tomorrow as well. We're not afraid of them. They're pretty nice guys, and we're gonna have fun together, I think. But tomorrow we'll be enemies, and we'll go hard.
we work in team spirit because play this game is most important, the team spirit. Sweden is good guys and we make friends today and yesterday with one. We have a great time together, the Sweden team.
It's my second time in Katowice and now we're well prepared for this tournament and we're looking forward to this match. If you look at our last match from last weekend, we've been practicing really hard this week for just this match against Italy. It helps a lot with team play and helping each other, stuff like that. It's a team play game also. Yeah, we haven't seen much from them, but we expect a really good match against them. Yeah, it was really nice to meet them. We won dodgeball against them, and tomorrow we hope to win against them also.
Sweden winning dodgeball, but they still need to wait for the first win on the non-pro tournament. Are Violet players on an advantage on dodgeball?
I'm sorry, I didn't get...
Violet players?
Violet
Violet.
players? Sorry. I heard violent players and I was like, what the are you trying to make me say now?
No.
I'm going to leave that question to Forsen.
I didn't actually catch that. I'm sorry.
Welcome to the highlight moment of today's show.
Let's say yes. Yes,
not
they are.
Not catching any skills, not catching any phrases, not catching any questions. No, we're talking about Violet players. We know that one of the guys on the Swedish NP team plays a lot of Violet, the AD carry.
The violin.
Violet.
Oh, the instrument. I'm not understanding it properly here. Violet. Oh, the hero. My bad. I thought you were referring to the instrument, and I was like...
I actually think an Alice player has an advantage rather, but that is hilarious.
I don't think
you made it an instrument.
I
made it violence. Yeah, it's just going good actually. We're having fun. That is key for me. It's key.
Wow,
I completely misread that.
All right. No,
I'm so sorry.
I'm not going that way again.
It's a good question as well. I'm so sorry.
I'm not going that way again.
Okay.
But we do it a bit easier, so every one of us can catch up. Predictions. I mean, I know you're both Swedish, so you're probably cheering for the Swedish team, but let's be honest here. The Italians, they look strong first week. They lost against Germany, but it was very, very tight match. Could have gone both sides. So who's an advantage right now?
From what I've heard, the Italian team has an average, like a higher average matchmaking rating right now. So that should favor them a bit. But as you said, this is their first time being on stage, so they might be a bit more nervous, and that might come into account as well.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of thinking that matchmaking points should be so much what matters here, so I'm gonna go with the opposite then. I think the Swedes has practiced a lot together and they have built themselves a stronger team. They look more confident and I've heard a little bit, and we played one game versus them as well, and they felt like they had a lot of hunger. So I believe in the Swedes.
We will figure out who will get the first 3 points of today. If it's finally a team that takes all 6 of them on a weekend, or if we split them once again. And for that game coming up now, it's Italy versus Sweden. The non-pro teams going out first. We've got the best casters once again, TJ and Envision.
Thank you very much, Renee. And it is going to be an incredible match for multiple reasons. Primarily the fact that, as the devs touch on, there are Violet players over on the Swedish side. Do you think they're better at dodgeball?
Well, as the video proves, they said they won, so I would have to go with yes. Scientifically,
there you go.
Scientifically, we've proven
answer.
that Violet players are better at dodgeball.
I completely agree, you know. I've done some very scientific analysis. We'll have to see, though, if that Violet comes through, because we are fully into the pink band phase for this game 1 of tonight. And just talking a bit about the two teams, we've seen some really interesting gameplay from the Swedes last week. They fell short. Now they're coming in versus the Italian team, a team that has performed very well online, 2-0 the Spanish side.
Yeah, the Italian side have looked really strong online, but first week, most of the teams did look shaky, so did Italy. They dropped the game there. So they're definitely going to have to show all their guns here if they want to have a chance of gaining some points and actually taking some points this week.
And I would say the Italians are kind of the dark horse here, right? We know what to expect from the Swedes. I'm sure they've improved, but we know what to expect from them. The Italians, on the other hand, they've done incredibly well, and they did lose that first game.
Yeah, Italians have done well, but Swedish side we've seen on stream already. So if the Italians have done their homework, it's definitely that they've seen something that Swedish team has. But as the Swedish players themselves said, they have practiced in this week and they've gotten new strategies. They've done an early aggression strategy before in this week, so that might come into play here.
We'll have to see if we see that early aggression. Perhaps a more aggressive, violent player would be better at not only this video game, but dodgeball.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see if we see Violet as... Right now, yeah, both of these teams, first week did look shaky. There's no doubt about that, but yeah, we've spoke about those things before. In the LAN environment, everything changes, and Swedish players have experience in that now.
And I would argue that the Swedes actually have more pressure on them as well, because if you look at the scoreboard, the points, they are currently able to qualify for DreamHack this week. If they win both matches today and their online match versus the UK later on, they will be qualified just like that for DreamHack.
Yeah.
That puts them over the magical 12-point threshold. And that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, definitely the 12 points that you need to have will secure you the spot in DreamHack. It is definitely something to look forward to. So we're going to have to see how the Swedish team takes it, because it is definitely a possibility that they will take these 6 points home, and then the match versus UK, if they do well, they're at 12 points. So theoretically, we could already have almost our first qualifier for the DreamHack.
And I believe that DreamHack will be in Sweden as well, so they get to be the home team, the hometown heroes. The only team that's nearly as close are the Germans, who we will have in the studio next week. And they also are only a few games away from qualifying for DreamHack.
Yeah, definitely. German team is looking so strong in the online qualifiers as well. We're going to have to see how the home crowd favorite would come to play if we were to reach into that DreamHack stage. Swedish side, being the home crowd favorite, of course, will have the support of all the crowd that is going to be there. But the German side definitely has their own community behind them.
Yeah, and you talked about how good the Germans have looked. They haven't, I believe, dropped a game yet. And they are the only team as of yet to also beat the Italians, who we do have here today. The Italians 2-0'd Spain, an incredibly strong team. But week one, like we touched on, the Germans came out on top and crushed them. And I do know that those videos are available online for the players to go ahead and review. So I would be very, very surprised if we didn't actually see the Swedes perhaps reviewing those VODs, learning something from them, and maybe pulling out some new things as a result of it.
Yeah, there's definitely a possibility of analyzing the videos, seeing what the enemy team does, what they want to pick, how they want to play, if they're early aggression, if they like to stay a little bit more passive in the early game, or if they want to, you know, go aggressive, invade the enemy jungle, take the advantage that way, and then take it home from there.
The other thing is, and I may be incorrect here, but I do believe that the Swedish side won bowling as well.
Yes.
That was week one. They went bowling versus the French, and I think they won that. I'm not sure.
Well, it was, for the players, they stated that they won, but officially, I believe French won that.
Oh, it was a moral victory. That's like when I win games over you. Okay, I understand now, and now I identify with the Swedes more. My point was going to be that they had won both of these kind of games between the two teams, and maybe that wasn't really affecting anything. But now that you've told me that the French officially won it, then all of a sudden, this becomes way more interesting, because the Swedes, they've come to week two ready to go. They win dodgeball, and now they're coming into the first game of the evening, and they cannot wait to throw some balls and win some games.
Yeah, last week we had the bowling match showing us who won the first game, actually, if you think about it. The French side, I believe, took victory there, and the French side took victory on the non-pro part of the games as well, so they took that serious as well. So definitely some sort of correlation between real-life activities translating into the game.
I'm pretty sure that if the Swedes win today, we've proven a 100% correlation rate between who wins the pre-tournament games and the actual tournament games.
Yeah, this could be a real possibility coming into this one.
The other record up to be scientifically proven today, or scientifically broken, is no team as of yet has won both their non-pro game and their internet celebrity game. We haven't had a single team take 6 points in a day yet. However, it is possible today if the Swedes win versus Italy Right now, that gives them 3 points, obviously, and then their influencers, Thorson and the rest of his gang, like Scooby-Doo, can get ready and beat out the Italians. That's 6 points in a day, of course the same as possible for the Italians, but I'm not going to lie, the amount of pro talent over on the Swedish side makes it very, very scary to go up against, I think, for a lot of these more YouTuber and streamer-focused teams.
Well, you have to take into consideration we haven't seen the influencers that much. We don't know how much they practice. We don't know what characters they play, what strategies they utilize. So it's definitely a possibility that, although we don't know how the Italian influencers play, maybe they've done a lot of practice.
They told me to my face, we're not feeling great about today. They look scary. So I'm going to take their word for it, because they seem like the type of people that are experts on their own play.
That could definitely come to fruition.
One of them, player inside, he has a gaming news channel, so I think he's actually doing gaming news ahead of time. He's just released a video to me that was telling me he's not feeling great about his game.
Well, coming into a LAN environment is definitely different for these influencers who are used to YouTube or Twitch, something like that. And it's definitely different when you're doing it from home, but being live on stage, sitting there, mobile phone in your hand, people to your left and right, it's definitely a different experience, and you have to cope with that. And well, look at the Swedish side; they actually have few experienced LAN players there.
Do they have pillows?
Yes.
This is a new strategy. So I was actually talking with the Swedes last week. We were standing around there and I was saying, does your head hurt if you have to bend over? And I was making a bet with them that in the future we'd see desks at Arena of Valor events just so you can put your hands up on something. But they've actually revolutionized the meta game of holding your phone. And they've got pillows on their laps to act as portable desks.
Yeah, that is definitely something to keep in mind here. We aren't seeing the Italian team, so maybe Italian team has some other form of meta change here. As we actually see now, they don't use the pillows. They have it behind their back rather than
nice
on
posture,
lap.
that. I like that, he's leaning forward.
Yeah, that is full focus posture there. He is ready to go as soon as possible.
And I think it's important to note as well that many of the players over on the Swedish side seemed kind of disappointed last week. I was talking to them, they said that they have absolutely been coming into this week 2 with a drive and a focus. After losing that first week, they want to win hard this week.
Yeah, Italians definitely have a, well, not the Italians, sorry, Swedish team has a mountain to climb. They need those points from the non-pro team. This week as well, they need to perform to the highest standard. We saw it last week, game 1, that the Swedish side did really well on. And if they can find what they if they can find what they had in game 1 last week and bring it to this week, then I think it's a definite possibility we're going to see some great games and a great series.
Also important for the Swedes, they dropped a member, or I think shuffled a member is more accurate. Kingston couldn't make it week 2, so they've swapped out their support player. They're bringing in somebody new. You've actually played it. You're a pro player previously in a similar game. Have you ever made a roster change this close to a live event?
Yes, we have, and it's definitely a new thing, but you have to keep in mind that the Swedish team actually did play with this lineup during the qualifiers. So they're not
it's a
new.
returned form.
Yes, it is returned form. Last week they had to shuffle players around. Mare coming to, instead of Kingstar, this week to play the supporting role for the Swedish side. We're going to have to see how the chemistry feels in between those players and how it affects them this week.
And maybe just the fact that they're going back to their standard roster, the roster they're comfortable with, will allow them to, you know, get back into fighting shape, if it were, and take this game where I do think they are a slight underdog against Italy.
Yeah, but underdogs have the best chance of actually coming through, because underdogs are rather not noticed in the scene usually. They're overlooked easily, so they have that factor going for them that they can bring out those crazy strategies, and it will come out of the blue for the Italian side.
And we are now into the pick and ban phase. Anything standing out to you so far? That's a bit of an odd ban of Arthur there.
That is a Thane ban coming through.
Sorry.
That is the Thane ban coming through for the Swedish side. That is definitely interesting, because we don't see Thane banned, I believe, at all.
No, he's considered a very viable character, certainly, but not one that I would expect to see banned. In fact, if I were to go through this draft, I'd be calling out, if you're targeting a counter ban out that Oromar, because Italy again and again loves that Oromar. and it's always been their first pick. You can see LY grabbing it here. I don't know if that's an intentional ban of the Thane or some clever counter pick, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, the Thane ban is out of the ordinary. It really does feel like it. It feels like it's a respect ban, but then again, we haven't seen the Italian team use it to full effect. But we've seen the Ormar come through as the first pick for the Italian side before. So that is definitely something to keep in mind here as the draft is unraveling here. We have actually interesting development because we have L'Oreal and Zill on the same team. Those are usually the characters that go into middle, but Italian side has run Zill in the jungle before. So that is definitely something to keep in mind here as we have those two pickups.
Oh, and the Joker as well. He's only been in the game for a week, and I am loving the fact that we might see more of them. Telenas, though, pulled out that both of them are both viable marksman characters. Obviously, the Joker, I think, offers a very slight range advantage, whereas Telenas has more sustained damage over time.
Yeah, Telenas' playstyle is a little bit different from Joker's because Joker has the long-range punk, while Telenas with the Eagle Eye really brings the damage. He can consistently hit you from afar, and it's really difficult to initiate on her. And even if you can initiate on her, the Arrow of Chaos, the ultimate that comes through from Telenas, can stop any initiation that's coming his way. So I would definitely have to say that Telenas is an interesting pick.
Things to watch out for on the Swedish side, they're running a Violet over on Hasimo. That's one of the most powerful DPS characters in the game. We frequently expect her to be banned or first picked. Crashed also coming through over on Mary, one of the most powerful tanks in the game. Keep an eye for a giant transforming squid. He's hard to miss, and he's also running a talent called Disrupt, which allows him to shut down the damage from towers, kind of take them out of action with a sort of EMP type effect. So you combo that with his already incredible tankiness during his ultimate metamorphosis, and he can easily shut down a tower with a nice little bit of help.
Yeah, if his team follows him and they can dive the tower, that is definitely a possibility.
And you can see the full picks on the screen if you're curious. Anything particular standing out to you that we haven't touched on?
Well, Tara isn't seen that often in these competitive games. I think she's a strong tank and definitely a little bit overlooked, but Italian side does bring it out, and we're gonna have to see how it goes for them because we haven't seen Tara that often.
And Italy have been doing that. I feel like everyone else conforms to a pretty standard meta, but Italy don't seem to be afraid to mix it up, throw in something new, and I do quite like that about watching them.
Yes, Italy definitely has a way of actually bringing out new strategies.
Get ready.
We are into game right now. You should be able to see it on your screens as we are into the first game of the evening. And Italy versus Sweden, either one of them could be close to qualification at the end of today. Sweden could be qualified by the end of the week should they win everything today. This is a lot of early aggression though from Italy. They do like doing this. We'll see if it finds anything.
Yeah, Italy's gonna try to find something here. Maybe they've even tried to protect. No, they're gonna go initiate into the enemy jungle. Lobo might be in some trouble here as we have Sage Golem. He's gonna get taken by the Italian side. The rotation comes in. Oge has to be careful here because he's gonna get initiated on as the wheel comes through, and the Italian side just takes the jungle camps and back off.
So this is super effective for Italy, not just because they're threatening, not just because they're in the backlines, but they took so much of the early farm, and even the camps that they didn't kill, the junglers over on the Swedish side weren't able to pick up that gold during that time because they had to be so careful of the Italian push. So this gives them a massive advantage right off the bat.
Yeah, Doblobo was quickly pushed off the jungle, and they couldn't even get a reply because they didn't have people down bottom to actually counter the enemy blue.
And now immediately after cleaning out the Swedish jungle, the Italians can fall back and do their jungle as well.
Yes, they can definitely do that. We see Ormar rotating in as well. We've seen this once before with the Italian side. They've run the double jungle once in the qualifying games as well, so we're definitely going to have to see how this goes.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd strategy. I think they're the only team that has even somewhat consistently run it, so it's quite nice to see them doing that, and like I said, not being afraid to break out of the meta.
Yes, they're definitely changing here. We see 14 minutes until Abyssal Dragon comes up as the Italian side are possibly looking for a gank or rotation from the Swedish side.
And that's, yeah, a lot of pressure through the mid. Doblobo needs to run, or he could go down quickly, and Morris and Sabo, it looks like they found him.
Doblobo's gonna be initiated on the Tornado to finish it off. Sabo picks up the kill, and that opens up the Abyssal Dragon, the important objective of this game. If Italy wants to go for that one, they opt not to.
Yeah, it's a very safe play, and I kind of like it. Sure, they've got the kill, don't feel the need to take any risks, don't do anything that could be punished. Instead, play safe, group up, and look for the next kill, because now they're weak, now they're scattered, and I think they may have found something. This is another aggressive push. They're continuing to just dive deep into the jungle, find extra farm there, as well as deny it to Doug Lobo.
They think that the thing is that they can actually pull this strategy off because they have a double jungle, right? They have always those 3 people. If you rotate in middle as well, then you always have those 3 people up against one jungler, or possibly the middle lane coming in as well. So that's a 2v3. So they're really outnumbering the enemy jungle always.
And Shelby might be in a bit of trouble here. They did a great job with the minion push, just making him kind of forced to pay attention. And now they're perhaps looking to punish it as they go back to a more standard thing. And actually, this is a kind of cycle, and I quite like this. You group up, you dive into the enemy jungle, you clear it out, you fall back to yours. And that's one of the few ways we can see actually the double jungle strat be fully fed.
Yeah. That's definitely how it could work, and I think Italy is doing a really good job at just keeping the aggression up. They're not letting Swedish side take a breather. They're consistently in the enemy jungle. They're definitely consistently poking them.
And you can see how much time the Swedes are wasting now because they're so terrified. Morris, though, he might have walked into trouble.
Morris is going to get caught out. The Swedish side is going to initiate Metamorphosis, comes through, and we have ourselves a fight. 3 people are falling lower and lower. Morris is falling so low. He's taking so much damage. Mara is able to clean him up. On name has fallen low. Hasse gets cleaned up as well. And just like that, 4 members from the Swedish side have been cleaned up. And only 1 falls for Italy.
They consistently keep running into that team fight one by one into a 1v3, sure of the Metamorphosis, but that will not be enough. In Italy, they're able to take a tower off the back of it, and they are now looking solidly in the lead.
Yeah, they take 3,000 lead off the back of this fight. That's absolutely huge. 4 minutes into the game, and they're consistently keeping up the pressure in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, you can see that continued pressure into the enemy jungle, not going for the major objective of Abyssal Dragon like many teams would, instead going for a more complex and, dare I say, subtle strategy of peeking into their jungle, finding a bit more jungle camps, and really reveling off of not just, once again, the XP that's giving them, but the XP that's denying the Swedes, and you can start to see that reflected in the levels of both these teams. It is beginning to be a drastic XP lead for Italy.
Yeah, Italy's members are really high leveled here compared to the Swedish players. Swedish side needs to find farm, they need to find pickoff, and get quite possibly the Abyssal Dragon pickoff.
And at this point, they can't really take a fight. Shelby, though, he might have stumbled into one.
Yeah, Morris is going to go in. Shelby find himself low. He has to run. He's going to be able to get away with the Lubu using those jumps on Mara. Is going to activate a Metamorphosis on Name. Is going to be in a lot of trouble. He's taking damage, but it's a little too much damage coming from the Italian side. 2 people have fallen. 3 as Shelby gets cleaned up. That's a 4-man streak here, and Italy don't lose any members, and they get Abyssal Dragon off the back of this fight.
That is lethal. And once again, that's what we were talking about. They built up so much of an XP lead by just carefully grinding out those jungles that now you can't take a fair team fight versus them. They had a great Metamorphosis from Mare, they had a great engage from the rest of the team, but it is not enough. If you're that far behind in XP, you cannot even take a slightly favourable fight. And you can see that reflected not only in the XP, but also in the gold. That is a massive lead here for the Swedes.
Yeah, Italy's side is really far in the lead right now. 5,000 coming in there as we have LY is going to be ganked. Will he be able to get away? He's going to dash away. Has activated the ultimate as well. The tower dive does come through, but the Swedish side isn't really on the same page. Mara with the disrupt, but the team doesn't follow, so they end up not diving the Tara. And on the top lane, Italy instantly capitalize on that gank.
Yeah, that's the longer range we were talking about, and 2 things went wrong there. One, a slightly flubbed bottom lane play, like you touched on. They actually had the disrupt to take out the tower, that EMP-like ability we talked about earlier, and they popped it so they could dive that tower and find the kill, but then they didn't tower dive. And then top lane, Italy quite rightly see 3-4 Swedes down bottom, so they instantly respond. They push top lane, they know there's only one player who can be defending, and now they've taken out almost all of those tier 1 towers, and they are just encroaching so dominantly on the jungle.
I believe they're going to clean up the bottom tier 1 here as well. We see Tara is in the bottom. Nobody from the Swedish side is actually even close to that. So if Tara decides to push what she's doing, she's going to pick up the bottom turret here, and they're going to have all the tier 1s cleared up. Now, we've seen so many times when all the tier 1s get cleaned up, the enemy jungle aggression come through for these teams.
Yeah, and the Swedes can't afford to take even a fair fight. Like we talked about, they need to find isolated players like LY and punish them hard, but Marai's going to have trouble doing that.
He's going to have trouble coming his way. The damage from only one with those auto attacks, the Eagle Eye ones, long range on that is definitely going to hurt Marai. Marai needs to get a little bit more tanky in order to tank the members of Italy, as they're going to go on to Abyssal Dragon now.
Again, just going for that Abyssal Dragon, not taking any risks, staying grouped together, building that ridiculous gold lead for Italy. And that is well over 5k in their favour.
Yeah, that is close to 7,000 gold lead for the Italian side. It is huge lead. 8 minutes into the game as they're gonna rotate up top. Mara is gonna find this one up. Zeph is gonna be on the run though. Lobo, will he be able to get away? He's gonna dash away. Will he escape though? Morris is on the back of this. Mara is coming in for a help, but it's not gonna happen though. Lobo has been caught out by the Italian side, and he is gonna be picked up as Italian side find a pick, and they go into Dark Slayer off the back of that play.
Yeah, Italy considering the Dark Slayer, instead opting to just get a few jungle camps and maybe catch Oge. And oh, Marai out as well. This could get dangerous.
Oge's gonna find himself in trouble. The Tornado Metamorphosis comes onto 2 people. Mara, unfortunately, is unable to save Oge. Great Metamorphosis coming through. It just doesn't happen. The Swedish side are a little bit too behind. They weren't grouped up. Meanwhile, up bottom, there is a Lubu pushing the turrets.
Yeah, that is notable. The Lubu coming through there. Of Shelby, he's made a massive play because he pushes the tower. Now there cannot be pressure. He's going to have to run through this double tower setup though. That gets dangerous. But I do love the Metamorphosis playing down bottom and Shelby's play. Those two combined allow Sweden to stay in the game just barely.
Yeah, Shelby's really wasting a lot of Italian time. He's going to be able to get away here. There is no way Italian team catches him. And he forced 4 people to rotate there as well. That brings up a little bit more pressure from the Swedish side as Mara as well as Doplo are going to find on name, as well as LY in the jungle. Mara is falling lower though. He does not have the Metamorphosis. Oge is going to follow. That's 3 people going down from the Swedish side. They overextend just when they were coming back into the game. It was looking so good for them.
And that is so heartbreaking. And it's the same mistake I feel like they keep making. They need to spread out. They need to try and get some sort of map control together. But every time they do that, 4 Italian players find a lone Swede in a dark alleyway, and, well, it doesn't go well for them. Yeah, the Dark Slayer being taken down as well here by Italy. Sabo and only one will be able to grab that, and with that buff, they now look lethal. This could very well be at least 2 towers and maybe the main.
Yeah, the Dark Slayer buff gives you that damage boost, 30% damage, as well as healing coming through from health as well as mana. So definitely a good push thing to have if you want to push those towers down. They find 1 tier 2 turret up top and they move into middle to push that tower as well.
And be able to take out that easy tier 2 tower in mid. They're looking for more. Marai and Oge, they need to hold strong here. This needs to be the hold of the Swedes' lifetime.
Oge is gonna get initiated on the great Metamorphosis. Italian team is falling lower and lower, but the Swedish side is taking so much damage. Hasek gets cleaned up. It's only the Myra that is to defend. The Lubu is not gonna make it back, as we have ourselves game 1 going to Italy.
Game 1 dominantly in favor of Italy. They were in control of that from the very beginning. I don't know what they can do. That was incredible from the Italian side. They just were able to lock out the jungle early. We saw that very clever aggression coming in time and time again against the Swedes, and they were never back in that game.
Yeah, Italy took the controlling step from the minute 1 there. They invaded the enemy jungle in the early game, and then they found the blue buff as well as one of the small camps. And what they did really great is that actually Swedish side did not capitalize on that. They needed to find the enemy blue buff. So they didn't use that, their advantage they got straight off the bat. They lost.
And I think really the endgame scoreboard probably says everything you need to know. 1-19 in favor of Italy. And,
yeah.
Well, there's not much more you can say. Renee, though, he has a group of people who know exactly how to say things. So I'm going to throw over to him, and he's going to know exactly why the Swedes are going to win in the second game.
No more words on Envision after that furious win by Italy, taking game number 1 of the BO3 series. Whew. I mean, take a deep breath. That was a lot of action going on in the arena. I tried to get everything down to points that happens. We saw early game, it was a lot of focus on jungle for the Italian team. We saw double jungle, we saw them taking the blue buff from the Swedish side early on, trying to scare Dope Lobo, who was playing jungle for Sweden, out of it. Was that the first hint of them dominating it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they did get the buff. They didn't get a first blood there, but they got the buff and they got another creep and they got out of there fast, not to waste too much time there, and got back to the lanes. I would say one of the biggest turning points for the Italian, not turning points, but the biggest impact in this game was when the Swedish team was waiting patiently at the river lane, trying to gank them, and they actually got the ambush on them, but they actually turned it around into killing 4 Swedish players. That was the most important one, I think.
It just felt like Italy dictated the tempo from the beginning till the end. Sweden never got a chance to start something of their own. At one point, Shelby went and took a tower, and he created some movement on the map, but immediately afterwards, 3 of the Swedes died, so it didn't help much. I don't know, it looks like Sweden hasn't woken up yet.
Let's go that one by one. We saw 340. That was when Sweden first tried that ambush in the river to initiate the first team fight. It was looking good because they had been in a good position. They had one man more onto the map to actually make it happen. But then it was a name who just came in with incredible movement around everything that they threw at him, and he just laid down damage after damage after damage. Is it the missing focus from the Swedish side onto the damage dealers from Italy?
I feel like the damage was pretty spread out, as you said. They were all quite low in the Italian team after the fight, so I feel like if they would have focused a little bit better on the DPS instead of going for the tank in the start, they might have made it out there with the win instead. But after that fight, you know, at 6.5 minutes, they had a 50% gold lead, the Italian team, and from there they just didn't give any opportunity for the Swedish team to come back. They just played together as a group and never gave them any chance at all.
We see it unnamed. He took 8 kills, 10 assists. It didn't die a single time to the Swedish attacks. I mean, out of that fight, they took the first Abyssal Dragon. Before that, they even took a tower already. They tried to push and push and push and make it happen. It was always, and it seems like the Swedish team was out of position on at least either Dope Lobo being the jungle, or Shelby trying to find a way to sneak up to one of the opponents. Is that a communication issue, or is it really just down to the Italian players making sure there's always one man more?
I think this is what it looks like when you're one step behind all the time. Like when the other team is making decisions, when they do stuff and you just react to them, then you end up looking like, well, there's always someone missing because he died in the start of the fight or something like that. So I think this doesn't have to be another 19-1 game if just Sweden, you know, in the beginning maybe meets up with them in the jungle or just puts their foot down and says stop. And that's what I'm hoping for in the next game. I don't know, it's hard to point out anything after what happened in the first 3 minutes, because after that it was just Italy, 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 Italy all the time, so you can't really say anything about it in my opinion. But there was some damage issues as well. I felt like what you said was really true. They got some damage off, but not nearly enough on one target, but a lot spread damage.
And they tried it with Shelby, they pushed the tower bottom, the second tower, they managed to get Shelby, they had to run away because so many Italians trying to come at him right after. But then they lost map control again with Darkslayer, and what can happen after Darkslayer when you're so dominant on a map already, taking it? Was there any chance to try to spot that Darkslayer move?
I feel like even if they did spot it, I don't think they could have prevented it at that point. They were way too behind to take that fight. I feel like their best bet was what they were doing. They were going for small ganks in groups of 2 and 3, trying to catch one player of the Italian team off guard, but they were always playing together.
It is Italy taking the first game of the BO3 series, starting off with a win against the Swedish team. We will head into a break, but before we do that, we've got a cool little preview of the new hero for Arena of Valor.
The siege is upon us. Tara's forces are about to attack.
Worry not. I've never lost a battle.
Astrid, do you insist into going into battle alone?
Of course. I do this for you and also for my family.
You have done enough for me. I shall take care of the rest.
My lord, I took my vows as a knight, and knights must charge into battle. Believe in me, I will defeat Terra. My resolve will never waver.
Welcome back to the Arena of Valor Non-Pro Tournament 2017. We just saw the first game between Sweden and Italy, the non-pro teams going head-to-head, and we saw a new hero for Arena of Valor. It's Astrid coming into the game, and we know Tencent always brings new heroes in it. Do you guys need to be on your toes all the time because it's a fresh meta?
Yeah, I always hate new heroes in the beginning because I'm too old and too fragile to learn them. Now, it's good actually because then you don't end up having static strategies, and when the meta change, you have to actually have players who are good at the whole game and not just certain strategies. So it's good, but if you ask me inside, I don't like it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I played a lot of different games, and the thing that's a deciding factor whether or not a game becomes successful or not in the long run is how often the developers put in new content and fresh updates and balances the game and stuff like that. So it's extremely important for a game to have frequent updates.
Yeah, we had Joker last week, and our Halloween special this week is Astrid coming to the game for you guys to grab out there. Just buy her in the shop and then get her on the arena and try to get some kills with her. That's what we're doing. But talking about the kills, that's something Sweden misses a bit currently.
The kill, you mean, if you're talking about Sweden's last game.
What can they do to get back in this series?
I think Mr. 2.0 was on the way of doing it. You need some individuals here to step up and help the team to show them that they are not unkillable. They are not reading everything that we're doing. We can actually trick them and do something. I think you need that, and you need some kind of leadership saying, okay, let's get on with this. Don't sit here and cry about last game. I mean, both those things I think is really important now.
Yeah, I think they need to play more as a team. They need to stay as 4 in the start even, because that's what the Italian team is doing. And if they're having a team fight early on and they're just 3 versus 4, they're gonna lose it again, and they're gonna lose it big time.
Yeah, we see there might be a bit more of team play or even individual movement to get Italy to lose the next game. We saw at Shelby 2.0, he tried for the push on bottom tower, but I'm pretty sure that TJ and Vision have the game lined up for you guys already.
And I am really happy to bring you the second game, because not only was it a great game 1, but also I have just confirmed on stream those pillow strategies are still in effect. Sweden, they've padded out game 1. They're here for game 2 in Vision, and I am 100% sure they're going to bring something new to the table.
The question is, are they comfortable with the strategy that they're using?
That's good. Unfortunately, they don't have the pillows behind them to kind of support their back, so that may be a problem. We aren't in the map ban phase. Are they comfortable is what we asked. Well, we'll have to see what they ban first off. Oh, they go for L'Oreal. That's curious.
Well, L'Oreal was really strong character last game, and coupled with Zill, actually, it was really interesting to see that combination work for them.
Yeah, and I'm interested and excited to see them specifically counter-banning, and it does show, if nothing else, they are learning and are continuing to evolve. We'll see the first pick of Ormar again coming through for the Italians. They, of course, ban Lucy or Alice. Wow, 3 different names, none of which are right. Alice, first off, an incredibly powerful support character with both shielding and a great team AoE ultimate. And she's been rather consistently banned by the Italians because they just don't want to have to deal with that kind of support and the kind of denial to the CC, I think.
Well, one of the players' favorite hero, especially Mare, to be precise, is Alice. So that is definitely something that
you think
Italian
it's a respect ban?
It could be respect ban, but Alice is really strong character in general. That could be it as well. But I would believe that it's a respect ban.
Let's talk about the pickups though from Sweden. They've completely changed things up. Shelby instantly overrun the Batman. Hasimo threatening a Violet. That's 2 incredibly powerful assassination characters, and they pick up a 3rd. This is going to be a very high damage team. Valheim, Violet and Batman, along with Kresh to tank the damage. I'd like to see them pick up 1 more tank or frontliner character, and then see where they go from there.
Swedish side, what they really need is magic damage here. They're lacking. They're lacking magic damage. Unless, could be a wild guess here, but the French side last week did run Valheim as the mage of the composition. So we're going to have to see if the Swedish side have picked up on that and if they're going to use the same strategy.
With the Rise item builds, it is entirely possible to run Valheim for magic damage. They do go for that frontline warrior character I was theorizing that they are missing. So if they want magic damage, I have to imagine it has to come in on Don't Lobo. And that's going to be a very interesting build to watch.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see these builds coming through, as well as these players adapting, because we generally see Valheim in the AD carry role, and the French side started running it in the middle, and they ran it as a mage, and now the Swedish side might do the same thing. It's definitely going to be quite interesting to see how this one works out for them.
opposing them. Of course, Italy, I think they've kind of hit on what works, right? They see no reason to change things up more than they're forced to, and, well, they'll keep going with a bold and slightly out of norm composition.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit out of the ordinary. Ginnar there coming through was on the Swedish side last game, but we didn't see a huge impact from him. So I'm kind of interested to see how the Italian side do overcome this problem that the Swedish side had.
Yeah, hopefully we can go ahead and see, I think, a bit more team coordination from the Swedes. They've been rather consistently, it feels like, getting split up, getting lost. We saw, notably during that last game, an instance where they almost dove tower and then weren't quite able to coordinate and spend their disrupt on the tower but didn't follow up. And that's the kind of mistake you cannot afford to make on a stage like this.
Yeah, miscommunications cost hard here. They are so heavy-hitting, it's insane. On a stage like this, of course, the pressure could be some part of it, because if the Swedish team hasn't won a stage game yet, you could feel a little bit pressured to actually perform better this week.
And I think that we can... I think we actually stand a decent chance of seeing that communication in effect for the Italian side, because I might have been incorrect, but I'm pretty sure that one of those headsets has a little bit of special duct tape on it holding it together. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, they think duct tape is, you know, something you use to fix, something you use to just strap something together. But I can confirm that the only time you duct tape something, this is a bit of a tangent, but it makes scientific sense. The only time you duct tape something is when you care enough about it to keep it over the long run, right? You don't you don't duct tape something you don't care about. You just throw it away. So the Italians are duct taping their headsets because it's incredibly important to them to have communication, and that's science.
Yes, definitely communication plays a huge role in a mobile game. You definitely have to be coordinated 100%.
I love that you're not touching the duct tape theory.
So duct taping...
Oh no, you've got... Okay.
So duct taping the headset to keep it from collapsing and having that as your way of fixing your communication errors is actually a really good strategy.
Ardy lads. We'll have to see, though, if the Swedes could hold together their own communication with a little more than duct tape. As, well, they said they've been practicing. I spoke to them. They said they put in easily over 150 games in the past week. But to be honest, it wasn't showing.
Yeah, last game it looked a little lackluster. Now, I want to touch on the fact that Swedish team last match, or last game, they were a bit more aggressive than usual, what we've seen. And they said they've practiced it. But it looked like they were trying to be over-aggressive in the mid-game phase when the game wasn't really in their favor, and that ended up costing them really hard.
Yeah, we saw one spot of brilliance there from Shelby towards the end. We shouted it up a bunch as he was able to waste so much Italian time chasing him. But that's not enough if your team doesn't have the right follow-up, and it felt like they really weren't sure what to do with that time. They didn't go for the Abyssal Dragon, they didn't try and convert a whole bunch of smaller jungle camps. Instead, they sort of just wandered around and ended up picking on a golem.
Yeah, they tried to... The Shelby play was great, but then they rotated 3 heroes into the enemy jungle when they were behind. So that looked like Shelby got away, which was a great play. He ended up actually running across the map. He did a U-shape from bottom to top lane where he ended up getting away. But the rest of the team went for too aggressive of a play. I would have liked this for them to actually pick up some minions, possibly Abyssal Dragon or Spirit Sentinel, or something along those lines, to take it a little bit smaller first. Not go instantly into enemy jungle when you know that the enemy is ahead, because they're so controlling in the game already.
Yeah, maybe a bit more careful play. It sums it up. I'd like to see the Swedes be in control, be communicative, and be careful.
Yeah, that is definitely true. The Swedish side hopefully has fixed all of their errors now for the communication part as well as the aggression part. We're going to have to see how they adapt from game 1 to game 2, because that is a huge part of best of threes, is the adaptability from game 1 to game 2. You can change strategies from what the stream or what the other team is doing. And so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the Swedish do come into this game too.
And I do believe that we have resolved some issues, and we will be able to take a look at those picks and bans in a moment. The interesting thing to me about this pick ban phase is, once again, there is no mage over on the Swedish side.
Yeah, the Swedish side does not have a hard mage. I would guess Zill is about as good as you can
They
get.
have a fluffy mage, like their pillows, soft.
Yeah, Zill is definitely one of those characters that can be utilized to full effect in middle. Most of the teams do like them, like him, sorry. As Zill is pretty strong. The tornado, that ultimate that comes through, makes him untargetable, does a lot of damage. And so it's definitely a good pick.
And you can see those picks on your screen right now. It all makes sense, I think. The Swedes, I like that they're shaking things up. I want to see not so much anything to do with their characters, more to do with the meta game, more to do with how they're playing than what they're playing.
Yeah, they definitely need to find some sort of strategy here to cope with the Italian aggression that came through in last game, which is looking like the same thing from Italian side for game 2 as well.
Yeah, you can see them all grouping up together already, and they love to do this, particularly versus teams that they know they can bully. They're all grouped up together, waiting for anyone to linger a bit too close. You can see, though, the Swedes have something in answer. They're actually going to invade the opposing jungle as well with a bit of a split push. They're leaving this Violet very vulnerable, but they're all going instantly for the safe goal.
The Violet doesn't actually need to contest it. Violet was there for a lookout, he got the information, and the Swedish side now knows that the enemies have invaded them as well. So they've done their own invasion, taken those camps, as on name actually I believe stole that. So that is something going for Italian favor.
Yeah, Unname actually managing to steal a couple camps there, and crucially, I think, he found out the invade was coming, he dealt with it, and he did all that without losing a single point of health, and that gives them a very, very, very slight lead over on the Italian side.
Yeah, we're going to see Italy once again with the double jungle strategy coming through. That is an interesting strategy because we don't see it at all from other teams. Only Italians have come in, and it worked for them last game. And right now they're doing it again, and I don't really see how it can not work this game. And the Swedish side have replied with kind of the same thing.
Yeah, you can see that Zill, Batman, and Crashed unit just really sticking together. I have to imagine that we see the Batman of Dope Lobo stick a little bit more to the jungle, perhaps with this Crashed as a bodyguard, but they're actually bringing all three together, and this leaves mid lane vulnerable. If Unknown can get a minion push going, that could very well force some attention. In the meantime, they're going to go for the Spirit Sentinel, and Sabo is watching carefully with bated breath.
Sabo is ready to go on to Dope Lobo. He's going to find the pick onto him. Will they be able to get the first blood? Sabo is diving so deep. He's falling lower and lower, but the Swedish side are losing life here as Sabo finally falls. First blood for Lubu as we have Shelby on the midst of the enemy teams. Will he be able to pick up more? He's going to be focused by Morris, who gets the stun down onto him, but Italian side has lost this first engagement as they do lose first blood.
That was an excellent bit of mobility in the midst of that fight. You might not even have spotted it, but Augie was so dead, and he barely managed to just get out of the focus of the fight, build enough distance that the rest of his team could rotate through, and that's what we were missing game 1. The Swedes were communicative, they were working together as a unit, even when caught off guard. Unnamed, though, he might be catching somebody off guard. Augie is kind of investigating. He's done his homework. He had his detective glass out, and he's sorted that there was somebody in that bush.
Yeah, Unname is actually doing a great job at farming. If you look at the levels between them, Zill's level 3 while Unname is level 4, so definitely mid lane. Unname has the advantage, and Italy likes to push their advantage. So that's why we see Unname going for those aggressive plays in enemy jungle, is that if those work, then you get the early kind of lead. And if those don't work, early game you usually don't have enough damage anyway to actually pick him off.
Yeah, it's less risky than it looks because it is so hard to chase down and kill. In the early game, though, Hasemo, he's made a fatal error, and Italy has punished hard. They sweeping those players in through the bushes. That may give them a massive advantage.
As it has fallen, Unname in the middle is gonna follow that one up as Unname has fallen. Morris is gonna come in with that stun as we have ourselves a fight. Italy is losing more life. Oh my god, the damage from Joker! The Swedish side have lost so much life. Eldwise coming in from the side, and the Swedish side have to be careful. Shelby is trying to get the kill onto Sabo. He is waiting for the
what are you doing?
But he gets the double onto the turret. Oh my god, insane play coming through from Lubu. Double kill for him as Italy lose 2 members after a great gank.
Italy should have won that fight, but Shelby just decides he takes his team on his back and decides he's going to go underneath the turret and find himself a double. And just off of that, they're keeping it even. They're keeping in the game. Italy, though, they've immediately responded to this team fight, not by falling back, but by pressing forward. And this is the thing about the Italian aggression. They are so far in the jungle. They've taken the Spirit Sentinel. They're farming up the Might Golem, forcing Shelby and Mare to respond. And this is why they're able to build up that gold lead, even when the fights are relatively even.
Yeah, the fights go so even right now. Kills are 4-3. It is a minuscule lead in kills. One kill, it's literally one gank. So the gold difference is 700, but that is mainly because Spirit Sentinel has gone to the Italian side now.
And you can see, again, just a little bit of pressure happening in that bottom lane. The Violet of Hasimo, time and time again, just able to get that minion push going, able to get a little bit of damage on the turret. We'll see if that ever amounts to anything.
Yeah, the third push comes, tower push coming through for these teams is definitely important. If you got those tier 1 towers down.
Look at top. This is a good setup on only one. Shelby just waiting for him to respond to that minion push. And I like what the Italians do. They bring in LY, they don't let him go into what could be a trap alone, and Shelby now, he might be the one who's trapped.
Well, Tara is going to find him out, the Lubu is going to initiate onto them. Only one in the middle lane is going to try to poke with the killing joke. He doesn't find any connection in the middle lane as we have Swedish side under their own turret right now. They're ready for a fight.
Yeah, they're very much predicting this Italian aggression, but instead it's all going to the bottom lane again. They found a gank earlier. The Swedes are prepared. You can see Hasimo, he plays very passively, very carefully, groups up with his team. And this is where that minion push we were talking about pays off, because they have so much control. Top lane, though, this could get dangerous.
The gold lead is dead even going into this Abyssal Dragon. Swedish side have stepped up on their farm. They've gotten those minions, they've gotten the jungle. They're keeping it dead even. We're 6 minutes in, where Dark Slayer comes into the play, and we're dead even. Nothing separates these two teams.
I said earlier it could get dangerous in top lane. That's Shelby poking around. Meanwhile, though, in the bottom lane, there's that Disruptor talking that incredible push with the crest.
Yeah, Hasse is gonna get focused by the turret, though. He has to be careful. Morris
oh my God.
is gonna be there. The flicker
tactical
over the wall by Hasse is absolutely beautiful. Gets away, and the Swedish side have claimed a casualty on the Italian side. They find a kill, and they go into Abyssal Dragon.
I
That's
love this.
What we like to see from these teams, turn a one kill into objective always.
The tactical clever use of Flicker by Hasimo saves the day for him. There isn't a trade. Instead, they walk out unscathed, immediately converted into that Abyssal Dragon. And now Shelby and the rest of his team are sitting pretty, and he's even threatening LY up top.
He has 2 level advantage over LY now. Actually, LY now reaches level 8, but close to 2 level advantage, 1.5. Close to 1.5 lead there, but it's huge for top lane, solo lane. That 1.5 level lead can quickly turn into 2 levels, and then off the back of that, suddenly you're looking at a really scary Lubu.
Yeah, and of course, just the fact that the Swedes are able to stay in this game is a brilliant improvement over the last one. Okay, Mare, they're going to go in hard on Unname.
Nirvana by Unname is going to give him the movement speed. He's going to chase this one out. Okay, flickers over the wall to the enemy side. That's a great play. Will he be able to get away? He's going to be on the run. Mare uses the Metamorphosis as he was in trouble. But now, finally, we have Okay going to fall down on the Zill as Joker coming in from the side. Only one with the killing joke. He's going to find a connection, though. Blood is going to jump in. They do not have Metamorphosis as Mare times this one out. The shield jump is going to come through from Mare, but the Swedish side have to be careful because they do not have those big teamfight ultimates.
Yep, they get a bit over-aggressive, and that forces them to lose a player and spend that Metamorphosis on Mare so that he doesn't go down as well. And this means there is nothing that can hold that tower. As soon as it is vulnerable, it is taken. Shelby, he's trying to get revenge up top, and actually he might have something on LY if he plays this well.
Well, Dope Lobo staying off to the side. That's a clever play here. The Dark Knight is going to come through as LY. He's going to find himself in a sticky situation. He's going to take the fight. Mare is coming in. Will they be able to time this? A disrupt is an availability. Should they want to use it? Mare for now is tanking this. They really want to take this fight. But they're tanking the turret. That's not the best idea. As right now, they're forced to bank now because of that.
Look at bottom lane. There's an instant response to that attempted gank, and it's far more successful. Morris is able to pick up one. Only one. Yes, he got tanked down low, but that's not enough. And now there are 2 tier 1s already down, and Italy look like maybe they're grinding out that advantage again.
Yeah, the Italian side are looking really strong. They've taken these objectives, even though the Swedish side have got an Abyssal Dragon, and they reset now. So Italy can't really take it right now because the Swedish side is around, but 2 tier 1 towers falling down is definitely an indication of how aggressive Italy likes to be, how good they are at taking the map control.
Look at the pressure here on the top tower. This is going to force a response from Sweden, and how many players LY sees here tells the rest of his team how safe it is to go for this Abyssal Dragon, and he sees plenty, so they go for the Dragon.
Yeah, Abyssal Dragon gets taken by Italy, so we have LY on top, being though way far. Now the turret is going to get focused by the Swedish side. Now the Swedish side know that 3 people are in middle, so they can focus this turret or rotate into the middle, which seems to be the case. The Italian side is looking for some sort of thing here as Shelby and Mara are going to come in from the side. Only one takes so much damage from Hasse with the tactical fire, but the Swedish side cannot find any CC onto Italian players, and now LY with the push comes through, and that's all tier 1 towers gone for the Swedish side.
And this is one of the things that the Italians do so well. They say, oh, you're worried about mid lane? Well, we've got to push up top. And you try and punish that push up top. We've got the rest of our team here to clean you up.
Shelby's going to be on the run. 3 Italian members there up top. They're going to try to find him. The stun come through. The slow as well on names there as well. That's a 4-man gang. Shelby is going to find difficult situation in his hands as he's unable to make it away as Italy looking so strong on the rotation.
Alright, does need to be a bit cautious here, and he knows it. Because, once again, we talk about this. Italy, they do an incredible job of poking, and now that those towers are down, they have so much more room to work with. They're trying, though, over on the Swedish side to maybe find something onto only one.
Yeah, the Italian side is playing rather cautiously on the Joker. It's a great play there. Only one did spot out the crash rotation coming in, so he's able to actually escape before anything dangerous comes off that gang.
But, of course, the Italians just have so much map to play with because those tier 1s are down. If the Swedes want to get back in this, they need to start taking out maybe that vulnerable top tower. Find more damage, find more map control, so that it's not just this dangerous game where the Italians can set up in bushes.
Yeah, Italians are waiting for some sort of Swedish rotation. Doplobo is going to come in with the invisibility. The Italian side does not know where Batman is. They cannot initiate onto him. We have Violet down bottom, so Swedish side is going to play, is going to be numbers-wise smaller team in the fight if they want to take this, as right now we have middle.
Look at Asimo. He's really split up from the rest of his team. He's going to be able to group up with Doplobo, but they have so many people chasing them, and they are terribly split, I think, from the rest of the team. The batarang now from Lobo sends out a slow into Saba, makes sure they can't be chased. The Italians are perfectly fine with this. They're going for Dragon, but this is dangerous.
Yeah, the Swedish side is going to come in. Marion is going to find that out. He has Metamorphosis. Will Swedish side want to go for this Abyssal Dragon? Is still being focused on. Now it falls finally for the Italian side as Mara uses the Metamorphosis. It's going to come through on names falling lower, but oh my god, the Endurance is going to save him. So much damage coming through for the Swedish side. They're finding the damage coming there when Mara is losing his life. We have Shelby in the midst of the enemies, but he cannot fight 4 people. Oh my god, he actually can! He finds 2. Hasse has to be on the run. Jumps over the wall, finds the kill, but that's an ace for the Italian side. They pick up 5 members from the Swedish side. It looked at least somewhat redeemable by the Swedish side.
And that's just one of the problems. We see great plays by Shelby, great plays again by Hasimo, but that's not enough. To have your individuals on point is great, but if you only have individuals, if you're not able to coordinate during the team fight, and you instead just end up taking these staggered fights one by one, it gets really rough.
Yeah, this is rough for the Swedish side. They need to find something here. They're 4,000 behind, and that gold amount has been coming from the last 1 or 2 minutes. Yes, he did.
That's a little bit cheeky. I wonder...
Well, with the punished.
Yeah. I'd like to see them get something with this, though, because when we've seen us get to this point in games before, it's always only become back from them if they're able to find an isolated player on the Italian side. And it's been so difficult to do that because the Italian side have been so grouped together. But I think perhaps by virtue of how much closer this game is, we do see the Swedes have, I think, more of an opportunity to pick off stragglers. The Italians are a bit more spread out, still looking for jungle farms, still looking to find a few lonely players against them.
Yeah, although We see Swedish side on the retreat for now. They do have those teamfight ultimates, but I just want to commend on Name. He's been doing so good job on the endurance.
Absolutely.
He's survived most of these fights with the Swedish players just grouping up onto him as up top. Morris is going to go in. He's going to find the stun, but Shelby a little bit too tanky for them.
Yeah, once again, the Swedes do a great job of rotating. They have everybody here. This may be a question of whether or not they can contest Darkslayer, though. LY and the rest of his buddies are definitely thinking about it.
If I would be in the Italian side, I would not go for this Darkslayer. It's too risky. There's no point. They're taking the gold lead steadily here. If they want to throw it away, there's other ways to actually throw away game than to go for Darkslayer here, because it is such a huge risk. If they lose the fight, if they lose the Darkslayer, suddenly the game is 100% in Swedish hands.
They are extending a bit farther. Only 4 here versus the 5-man Swedes. This could get dangerous, particularly for Morris.
Mare finds the Metamorphosis onto 2 people. Morris is going to find the trouble coming his way. Mare is going to chase only one, but backline is faltering for the Swedish side. Though Blobos on the run, they can't find the kill. 3 people from the Swedish side have gone down, and they do not have the carries anymore. They're forced to run away. They split up. Shelby is going to at least stall some time for the Swedish side, but I believe from the Italy that should be Darkslayer pickoff from this fight, as Mare is the only person that survives that engagement.
Unname again, crucial in the fight, finds all those kills in the backline, and the Swedish side, they were winning that aggressive fight. Their frontline characters were finding big damage, then they turned round and their teammates were all dead. And that's, again, I think a bit of maybe a coordination issue for the Swedes. I want to see them more grouped together, having better target calling and target focus during these fights, because they are now down to almost exclusively high ground towers. They have no jungle control to speak of. They need to make a big play, and they need to make it fast, particularly with the Dark buff already available against them.
Yeah, Darkslayer buff is on the Italian side. The Swedish side have to find some sort of leeway. They have to find some breathing room in this game. They need to find at least 1 or 2 pickoffs and then take a fight off the back of this. But Italian side are going for Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, just brutally starving out their opponents, taking Abyssal Dragon, not even so much because they need it, but because it's needed for the Swedes. And that just continues to build a gold lead that is at this point significant. Not as bad as last game, but definitely there, and the towers are beginning to crumble.
This is looking like a high ground push for the Italian side. They find the high ground turret as they get those super minions down middle lane now. Swedish side have to be mindful of those because they can finish their base so quickly. The super minions do extremely huge amounts of damage.
The Swedes, I don't know what they do here. I don't know how they find anything. If they can find an isolated player, perhaps over on the top line, maybe they can get something, but they're just losing tower after tower, being choked out.
Italian side is running. Oh my god, 4 people! Metamorphosis, and we have Ormar picking off Batman there. Mare is going to be forced to run, and Shelby's going to miss to the enemy team. He's on 4 people, and his team is not backing him up. There's no way Shelby survives that one as he falls. There's 2 members from the Swedish side that have fallen. They're going to dive onto Oge, who's going to use the tornado, finds the ultimate, but can't find a kill. Morris is going to escape as another high ground turret falls, and the Italian side are out for blood in the Swedish base.
With 2 high ground towers down, it is almost a matter of time at this point. And we see again the thing we're talking about. Shelby goes so deep into the midst of 3-4 enemy players, and he has nobody to back him up. Even though he does great, even though Murray finds a great metamorphosis, it's not enough if you don't sync those 2 elements of good play together.
Yeah, I would really like to see the Swedish side actually defend their carries. Their carries need to deal damage, but they have Shelby as well as Mara both jumping onto enemy backline. They're not focusing on keeping their own carries alive.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something I would like the Swedish team to do. And at this point, the game isn't really over, though there is 2 high ground turns down for them, but...
It's not over, but the final act is playing, and it doesn't look great for the Swedes.
Well, the Swedish side, as I said, they need to keep their carries alive. If they're able to do that, there's definitely a chance of coming back into this game and quick.
And once again, I think it isn't even so much exclusively on the Swedes, but the Italians need to make a bit of a mistake, and the Swedes need to find the punish. Perhaps this is it, if they go for the players trying to take down Spirit Sentinel, but they're waiting to get all 5, and it may be past the opportunity at that point. As you can see, the Italians group up, they need to find LY, and they do have an opportunity.
Yeah, Swedish side is looking for some sort of pick-off here.
Push.
Yeah, the middle lane, they have to be mindful of that.
Yeah, and I love LY spotted several players top lane, so the instant answer from Italy is let's all go bottom. Let's force them to choose. And you can see they have. They're sending Shelby up top lane to deal with LY, and then the rest of the team taking a 4v4 bot lane.
Yeah, this is definitely a good split from the Italian team as Sabo is going to jump onto. Okay, is going to be wind shifting away. Ultimate onto only one. The Metamorphosis by Mario only hits one person. Nirvana comes out from Unname as they're going to try to find some kill. Doublo is taking so much damage. Lubu's out of the fight. Swedish side are outnumbered and out-damaged as they lose 3. Shelby coming in from the backside as Sabo is going to chase onto Hassi, and it's looking so good for Italy.
This may very well be game, and I dare say it is. Italy, a dominant victory again. Much better for Sweden, but Italy slowly grinded and choked their way to victory.
Yeah, game 2 looked so strong once again from the Italian side. It started off great for the Swedish players. They found the kills, they found the aggression that they were looking for. It was looking so good, but coming into that mid-game, it started to slowly crumble from the over-aggression that the Swedish team did.
And that is 2-0 in favour of Italy. And once again, they look excellent. Swedes, though, we talked about it from week 1. That is a marked improvement. We've seen them go from a shaky start in week 1 to a shaky start in this BO3 to a very, very close game 2.
Yes, Swedish side has looked incredibly good throughout this tournament. They're improving, you can see it for sure, as they started off weak, but now they're looking so strong.
Yeah, the Swedes, though, it isn't over for them yet. They do have another chance today to earn 3 points, and like you say, they are continually improving. They still have a hope to get to DreamHack. They just need to show that continued improvement in the future online games. And well, I think it's entirely possible. Renee, though, you have a desk full of Swedish people. Do they think it's possible?
Hopefully this does not become a sad party over here at the desk. Well, Sweden is losing in the second game in the BO3, so it's Italy taking the first 3 points of the day. And that was a way better game than we saw in the first one. We saw Sweden actually taking part of the game, making sure that they take objectives. But from the beginning it was the counter jungling and double jungling on both sides. Everyone went for the buffs. Why?
Why not? It worked for Italy, I think, and they just did the same thing. I think in the beginning the Swedes actually had a good movement. They were adapting to the Italy tempo, but what I felt was the issue later on is how the team fights were played out. The focus fire wasn't really there, a little bit like we talked about in the last game. But I think it was more clear that that was the problem in this game due to the fact that the Swedes actually had good movement, so that was not the major issue anymore. At least that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, they played actually really well in the start. They got a little bit overconfident, I felt like, because there were a couple of kills where the Italian team caught the Swedish top lane and bottom lane off guard. They were pushing a bit too far, and they got a couple of kills there, but I think the most deciding part of this game was when the Italian team was attacking the red buff of the Swedish jungle, and the Swedish team decided to go a little bit too early. The ADC wasn't quite yet there, and he was still running, and it took maybe 2 seconds before he could shoot anyone in the fight. And that fight could have actually gone in favor of the Swedish team if they just waited like a couple of seconds longer before engaging there.
We saw them leading the game early on. We saw them taking the first block, taking the first objective when they got the Sentinel very, very early, and then got a gank where they tried to tower dive, and it actually worked. With Shelby being a bit more aggressive than in game 1, way more aggressive than last week. So like, hey, I'm brave enough, we got the damage, we might be able to do it, and they actually pulled it off. But then top lane was just a problem. I really have to say that. I'm just feeling sorry because it was looking good. I thought, oh, we got a great game on our hands. Italy really needs to step up now, their game. And then we saw them holding top over and over again against the ganks from the Swedish team while they made moves all around the map. Wasn't there anything that could have been the other way around when you know that top lane is not really something that you can gank right now?
I get this feeling from a lot of different MOBA games when one team wants to win a lot and they really try to do good movements, but the other team is slightly better. That's what I saw in this game actually, and I don't like to say that since we now have to beat the Italians even harder, but that was honestly my feeling. They adapted to the movement, which was good, but when it came down to decision making and team fights, who to fight first, who to kill first, Italians were a little bit better. Who said that?
It was still a very, very slow building up match. 8 minutes in the match, every team had 5 kills so far, but that was the moment when Italy actually came back, made sure like economy is good even if they're not leading on the kills. Is it the camps or laning phase that did better?
I believe that whenever there was a bit of dead time on the map, after team fights and such, the Italian team did a way better job of harassing the towers, and we saw they had way more towers killed than the Swedish team after a certain point, and that certainly led to a lot of more map control for the Italian team.
It was 15 minutes in when we saw that Sweden initiated another fight, trying to turn this around. It was the backline totally getting destroyed by the movement, the quickness of the Italian squad. We see it right now on our screen. It was Morris taking MVP this time, but it was actually LY holding off top so long, enabling Italy to actually do all of that.
Yeah, you were talking about downtime. I think Italy had less downtime generally than Sweden has. Like in a game like this, if you can't do anything, then you have to do something else. That sounded weird, but try to follow my lead here. Like you have to farm, you have to push some tower, you have to be in the jungle, not just being in a movement to a new place, unless you get something out from that movement every time, which you won't be getting all the time. So I think that's where the game started to go towards the favor of Italy.
We saw a lot of Swedish rotation, leading them to a Dark Slayer for Italy that once again led to snowballing. Basically, the tower, you talked about that already. They took so many towers, but still, they hold on for quite a long time, I felt.
Yeah, I mean, when you're down one game already and you know that if you lose this game, you're out, you might as well fight, until the very last. And so, in some games, when you have won the first game, it's actually smarter to concede the second game because it drains you mentally, right? To be on a losing end of a game for so long and then just go right into game 3. But they were already down one game, so they just had to fight it out until the very end.
Nothing more to add. Brilliant, as always, Mr. Forsson.
It is Sweden losing the first match. The first BO3 is done. It's 3 points for the Italian squad. And Matt got the interview with the winner.
Thank you very much, Rene. Yes. Here on the stage with LY, and also Maria's joined us. Thank you very much, Maria. Who's going to be translating to Italian for us. So, LY, a good win for you guys. First game over pretty quickly and very strongly one-sided. Had you prepared a lot for the Swedish team?
Avete vinto praticamente subito, vi siete preparati molto per questo torneo?
Sì, abbiamo preparato tanto prima di venire qua, anche quando siamo qui abbiamo preparato tanto, giocato tanto prima del torneo. Siamo contenti della vittoria.
Yes, we trained very much, so we were prepared and we are very happy with the result.
Second game took a bit longer, more of a fight going in there. You were in top, you were dealing with a lot of attempted ganks. It seemed like everybody else was moving around a bit more fluidly on the map, whereas you had more to do up top. Was there ever a time when you were worried about that? You seemed mostly in control.
Avevi soprattutto tu il controllo nella seconda parte della partita, ti trovavi al top praticamente, però le cose sono andate un po' più lentamente rispetto al primo round.
Sì, perché secondo partita siamo andati un po' più calmi perché ci sono dei giocatori che hanno fatto bene. Hanno
fatto?
Cioè che non si può scegliere, diciamo. Come si dice?
Ok. So we were forced to do that because the game went that way and we tried to move quietly and to move slower.
Perché c'è stato anche il fermo del gioco ripartito, dobbiamo pensarci che giocatore scegliere dopo così.
Okay. Because the game stopped and then started again and they had to think which player picked.
Okay. You had your first game of the season against Germany last week. We saw the online highlights in last week's show. That was a loss for you. What have you done between then and now to be so powerful this week?
Allora, cosa avete fatto tra l'altro match che avete fatto e questo qui? Come vi siete preparati, diciamo?
Cioè, diciamo quasi tutti i giorni giochiamo insieme, ci troviamo, giochiamo insieme, ci siamo preparati tanti e abbiamo avuto anche dei problemi quando giocavamo, però alla fine abbiamo risolto.
So there's no really difference. We always play together every day. They train a lot. They had some problems, but they overcome them. So they really try hard to win this match.
Yeah, and it showed. Definitely. Congratulations, LY and the Italian team training together every day, pulling it back from a loss last week to their first win as the NPT team. Rene, back over to you.
Thanks, Matt. It is the first game in the books done, and we will, of course, come up with more content for you guys. Still got the influencer match coming up, but next are the highlights, all the games that happen throughout the week that we can't show here in the arena. So while we had in a break, don't go anywhere, maybe grab a drink, but be back in 2 minutes. welcome back to the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament. We just saw our first BO3 between Sweden and Italy. The non-pro teams tried their luck on the next 3 points for their scorecard, and was Italy taking the series 2-0. They got another 3 points after losing the matches on week number 1, finally grabbing some, getting back into the action of the NPT. But you all know that we got more action the whole way through the week, with all the other teams playing, trying to grab some points for the scores, and TJ and Envision, they got the highlights for you.
Yeah, we do have a ton of highlights. Thank you very much, Renee. These 2 online matches that we're about to get into, France and Germany, and Italy, Spain, are both very interesting. Spain, because we just got to see them play Italy, and we've seen Italy here on stage today. And then Germany versus France, because Germany may very well be the first team to qualify for DreamHack. So they're a team to keep your eyes on, particularly because they're coming into the studio right next week.
Yeah, Germany definitely is one of those scary teams we've seen in the qualifiers as well. They've been doing so good, and they're looking so good as a team. Their cohesion is really good. The chemistry between the players is absolutely insane.
And this France-Germany matchup was an absolute knockout brawl. These 2 teams went all the way to the very end.
Yeah, these teams should go to the very end. These are the top of the top teams here, as we're expecting all of these guys to perform to the highest level here. And they're showing that these are the powerhouse teams, that they are so strong, that they are so neck for neck in these games.
And you can see just throughout this, keep an eye on Moon's play over on the Crashed. He's played an incredible Crashed. We saw bits of him last game, but that is the ideal position for a Crashed. He goes in under the turret and then loops back with the rest of his team. They create so much space. It's like creating a wall for your team to play behind.
Yeah, definitely, as the French side are really strong at turning kills into objectives, but we usually see German side doing the same thing, and most of these teams are early aggression teams, so definitely a lot of fights happening early here for these objectives. Neither team really wants to give that away.
Yeah, Memorized also somebody to really keep your eye on throughout this replay, because I think there are a couple different people picking up Joker. I think Memorized is my favorite of them.
Well, yeah, everybody has to have their favorite player, but the French and the German teams are rather strong at executing their stuff, as we see Crashed sniping off the Joker there. And it's really the story of Crashed, is the metamorphosis, right? We emphasize it so many times in the stream as well. If you have that Crashed, the team fighting capabilities that your team has is insane. The metamorphosis is such a huge ultimate if you land it on more than 3 people.
Early on in this game, it was dominantly, I would say, in favour of France. They won so many of the early team fights, so much in the way of Abyssal Dragon. I think they got it twice very early on. But the Germans consistently managed to find kills in, I would say, even awkward situations. And this, as you can see now, begins to leverage that gold lead back in their favour and just give them a slight lead time and time again.
Yeah, throughout the qualifiers, the online games, and last week's games, we've seen the kind of a pattern emerging for the German side. They kind of lose the early game. They don't do too well, but they don't necessarily lose it, because they keep themselves in the game and come to this mid to late game. It's absolutely insane how this team performs, and they're able to just group up and execute their strategy to its fullest potential.
This series does have a great distinction in the non-pro tournament series. This was the first series that actually went all 3 games. You just saw game 1 going to Germany. France comes through here game 2 with a bit of a changed up draft, and it really works out for them.
Yeah, something to note here is that Germans usually love to run Lubu. Hawkeye is such an impactful Lubu player. He's been running it throughout the qualifiers, throughout the online games. He's done so well, and the French, recognizing this, take this away from him, so that Hawkeye is forced to go on to Zuka, maybe what he's not so comfortable with, and that really changes the tides of this battle.
And Hawkeye, really pay attention to him. Again, there are so many, I think I've said that for most of the players over on the German side, and that's one of the things that makes them so scary. All of their players feel like specialists in the roles they excel at.
Yeah, definitely. They are finding the roles that they play really comfortable to them. The heroes that they play, the hero pool isn't small for them, but they're so specialized in it that if you give them those comfort pings, it's really difficult to dismantle the strategy they want to use.
One of the things I loved about the French strategy this game is they recognize exactly what's going on and they respond just instantly and fearlessly. You can see a full pressure there at the bottom tower with 4 people, but they know there's a base push. So they push that bottom lane, they get a tower, and then they all recall just in time to hold the base while still applying that pressure bot lane.
Yeah, definitely you need to split up the map in all the games that we cast. Is you can't have one all-out strategy in these games. You need to split up the map, and that's how you find these objectives. You definitely need some sort of a backup plan if you lose that fight. In, for example, bottom lane, then you need to have a backup up top so that they can possibly push a turret or even take a objective off this.
The Germans here managed to get it almost all the way to the brink. Incredible pressure deep into the base, but Bobby Carton memorized and the rest of them, they are now on the run and they get badly split in this team fight.
Yeah, the German team cannot act as cohesive unit, which they're so good at right now because of the split. They are doing so good in cooperating and communicating between the members, and we really see the French side dismantle that to perfection in this game.
Yeah. Early pressure, it felt like almost because the Germans were retreating, they kind of didn't worry so much about positioning for a team fight, they weren't planning for one, and that cost them a big team fight, which puts the French ahead in the gold and back in the game, despite having such a bad deficit of towers, and that eventually grants them the base and game 2.
Yeah, definitely, the fight coming off before the end of the base push, usually in these games, the fight that happens just before that is so influential because you can, if you can get 3 or even 2 members out from the enemy team, the base push becomes so much easier because you don't have to deal with those 3 members.
Absolutely, and it is so much about the perseverance in a game like that because so many people, I know especially in my online games, you get a forfeit the second your towers start going down. That was all of the towers down for France. They were backed up all the way into their base. The Germans made one mistake, France punished it hard, and they won the game.
Yeah, at this level of competition, we expect this to be the case, right? Because you make a small mistake, it's literally that can turn 180 as fast as a bullet train right now in this game. So it can definitely happen in the blink of an eye, just complete turnaround by one of these teams.
This game, it felt like France were a bit I don't know, overconfident of the last game. They got very aggressive right off the bat. That feeds 2 kills to Germany, and they feel great afterwards, and they never really stop. Darkbreaker gets a little bit too aggro, but things go well for them because whilst that's a 2-3 man focus on Darkbreaker, the rest of the Germans are busy down bottom, cleaning up kills, cleaning up that tower.
Yeah, definitely. The German side, again, splitting up the map is so important in these games. They need to find objective if they lose a member or a fight. And turning kills into objectives is one of the other things as well, is if you find that kill, you really need to find that objective, which the French side, they're good at doing, but as we've said before, German side is so good at defending the objectives.
And conversely there, what I think really began to undo the match for the French was they didn't find a kill. They went for the objective and it cost them. And what it cost them was a team fight, which then cost them a Dark Slayer. Even though they get that Abyssal Dragon, it is not at all worth the payoff. Darkbreaker manages barely to get out from that fight, but the rest of it goes dominantly in favour of the Germans. They have now the Dark Slayer buff. They will win any fight that is remotely close.
Yeah, I just want to note here, Hawkeye got Lubu in the last game, so he's on his comfort pick.
Yes.
So that is definitely one of the points that the Germans are so strong at, is if they get that Lubu, they're so good at executing with him. Hawkeye is so good Lubu playing. It's definitely one of the scarier heroes in this tournament for this particular player.
That clip in particular, I actually referenced it to be included just because of how lethal it was, or how proud of a demonstration it was of the survivability of a Crashed. However, the real pressure comes through again. It's a base race, and you can see a very tight pressure. However, it will be taken at the very end, very closely.
Yes, it is definitely a very close game.
Yeah, and that's kind of the closest game I think we've seen in the online phase. I think of the games we've seen so far, that is the closest online game.
I believe it is the closest game thus far to the tournament.
I don't know about the qualifiers, but we did have another game that went slightly less close. You've seen them already here today. Italy went up against Spain, and well, they looked great on stage a moment ago. They looked great online as well.
Yes, they have looked so strong. The Italian side is looking so dominant in the online games and the offline games now. After shaky week 1, they're looking like they're finding their footing here and really gaining advantage off the back of that.
Yeah, Unknown and Davian, well, you just saw them on stage. This is what they do online. Incredible aggression, like we just saw, and this time there is no Swedish side to hold them off. They get so deep, it actually backfires on them once or twice, because maybe they get a little bit too happy. They're not on the stage, there isn't the pressure, so you just take some risks that you maybe wouldn't.
Yeah, with the aggressive strategy, it works as long as you can keep it up. If you're overextending or over-aggressing, then it can quickly turn on you, as we saw there. The case with the last team fight was that they dove way too far and they didn't respect the crashed rock combo that the Spanish side had.
Yeah, and that top tower goes down very early on. Italy, very early on, 10 minutes into the game, demolish the enemy base.
Yeah, really dominating, controlling the pace of this game for majority of the game. They're looking so strong. They controlled everything that had basically Spanish name on it.
One of the interesting things about that first map actually is that it was a really high killing game.
Yes.
I think the final kill death was something like 27-20 in Italy's favor. But that's because of the aggression of Italy. You don't get a scoreline like that unless one of the teams is constantly taking team fights.
Well, not even that, but both of these teams like to be early aggressive.
Yeah.
So that comes to show that the kills really paint a picture of these teams just clashing head-to-head throughout the early game as well.
And that will be the Abyssal Dragon, threatened as well early on again by the Italians, and they do a thing that no other team I think has quite figured out how to do yet, which is define map control, get the Abyssal Dragon without getting firm objectives, without getting solid, oh, here's a few kills. They're able to get that Abyssal Dragon. That's just a great clip there by Afi, if you want to know how to 1v1. That's that clip.
Yeah, definitely. The Italian side are really strong at taking the map control. They're really precise in how they execute their strategies of taking that map control. So I think definitely Italian side is one of those teams that you're gonna have to look out for. There's ways to counter the map control that they do, and I would have to say if teams look at these games and analyze them, there's definitely ways to find the weak spots that the Italian roster does have.
And I do hope in the future games, and I know we saw a bit of it today, we do get these teams watch the online games, watch the stage games, work out how you can counter it, because otherwise, teams that have got it figured out, if their style is never threatened, the Italians are going to keep on doing this to people. 13-1.
Yeah, it is definitely insane here. Italian side looking really precise in their execution of the strategy that they have now, a little bit unorthodox, but again, the Italian side is looking so strong. They've done so offline now, and in online games, they're looking so controlling of the pace in these games.
I would like to give a shout out, even though he's on the losing side, to Happy over on the Grak.
Yes.
He is definitely one of the definitive Grak players. If you want to know who's great at Grak, it's Happy.
Yes, Happy is the player to watch if you want to learn Grak. Because Happy is so good. He finds those pulls, he finds those World Devourer ultimates that Grak has, and he's really good at executing in team fights as well. So I think Grak is one of the characters that Happy is so good on, and he's made a name for himself on that character because of the online qualifiers and how he's performed.
Similar to that is actually Lil over on Batman. We saw him on stage earlier, and well, it's been great almost every time. Those two players definitely kind of define the roles that they play.
Yeah, another one is Innocent Boy, who isn't in this tournament, but he's defined L'Oreal as well. So there's definitely names rising already in the scene that really come together with a hero combination.
Well, Renee defines the role of analyst, and he's over on the desk to pick things up.
Germany picking up the second win in the tournament so far. They will visit us next week in the arena, so they might be able to close a ticket already for our final at DreamHack Winter. Spain losing a match against Italy. They're here in the arena today. We finished their first match, but we'll bring the internet celebrities up next. Before that, we'll hop onto a short break, so stay with us. welcome back. It's Arena Vela, it's the non-pro tournament 2017, and it's Shelby at Mara joining me as new guest on the desk, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Swedish lineup. Just finished your match. We won't talk about that right now. I'll give you another second to breathe and come back after the game that we just had to remind you guys out there how all of this works. We have a quick look at the format again. 6 nations represented by 2 teams, one of them being the non-pro qualified team and one of them being the internet celebrities. They all score the same scorecard of their nation, trying to be among the top 4 at the end of our competitive weeks. They then go over to DreamHack Winter to have their final and their shot at a $100,000 prize pool. Guys, DreamHack, right now it's a bit further away from you after losing week 1 against France, losing week 2 against Italy. I mean, your internet celebrities still have the chance to pick up another 3 points for you, but talk me a bit through about the game, like game 1, game 2, they both look totally different.
Yeah, we can start off by game 1. They picked us apart. They played 2 jungle, our jungle, and then they had their jungle, which means they will get more farm basically. And we had 2 bot and 1 top, and it didn't work out at all.
Yeah, they destroyed us with their harassment in the jungle. They put big pressure on us, and we wasn't prepared.
So you never thought about the possibility of a double jungle for the game against Italy?
Yeah, that's what we did the second game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean for the first one. So when you went in, you never thought that someone would come up with a double jungle?
No, we didn't.
That was new for us.
But you adapted pretty fast. I mean, on the second game already, you brought in
we had to
Batman,
change something.
Yeah, Batman and Crash as a combination.
Yeah.
For double jungle, you were really aggressive early on taking them off, taking their jungle while they did your jungle. That was awesome to see that you picked it up so fast.
We counter-pushed them. We had to do something, right?
Yeah, I think we got the first 5-10 minutes, and then we lost 1 team fight, 2 team fights, and then yeah, we tried to adapt, but it didn't work out.
Did it feel that different like it did to us? Like when I saw that match, it was like, okay, the first match, Italy totally dominated you guys. But on the second match, I saw you up front early on. Like you had the gold league, you had some more kills. It was a very, very slow game regarding kills, but you were kinda in control. How was the feeling for you guys?
Felt good. Felt very good, but it didn't last in the end.
Well, we took some towers, took the first dragon, I think. We tried to adapt what they tried to when they attacked us. We tried to respond, but the thing was, I think we should next time we go for them instead. We don't respond. They need to respond for our attack.
Yeah.
Be more on the aggressive side rather than the reacting side. But now that you finished your arena matches over here, so that was your last match played in the arena before DreamHack, if you go there, only the online match is coming up. What do you improve now? What do you do to make sure that you're qualifying offline then? Online, not just off the arena for DreamHack?
First off, we need to improve our team fight with 5 people, and then step by step take the towers, and then we will work from there.
Yeah, we will be aggressive. We'll change the tactics.
You're always about being aggressive. We saw that. I mean, those tower dives.
Yeah.
Very, very brave. Did you actually realize how often you did that? I loved it because the first tower dive you did, you got the kills.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some kills, but it was like when we went with 2-3 people against 1-2 guys. That's when we dived the towers. But in the team fights we had the most issue.
You have to take the chance.
Taking the chance. That's what happens next, because we will have the internet celebrities for Sweden and Italy trying to grab another 3 points for their scorecard. So 2 entirely new lineups. Of course, the Swedish lineup, we saw them last week, but the Italian one is new to us. And we sat down with Gianluca, one of the guys from the team.
Oh my god. Alex Kidd was its favorite game when he was a little boy, but I'm not very sure about this. I say Alex Kidd. His favorite sport is soccer. So his perfect romantic evening maybe with sushi and some good movie with me, very quietly. We are very quiet couple. We love to stay at home and watch movies. He plays often from the distance, so like mages or gunners. Sometimes always also with tanks, but mostly with gunners. Weirdest. I don't know if the toilet is a weird place. He plays always at home. He never plays outside, so there's no weird place, actually. Yeah, I don't know.
The point is that even I don't know which video game is, but maybe the first I remember has no name because but maybe it can be Alex Kidd. Sega Master System. It's not the first, but it's the first I remember the name of the game.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
My favorite sport is soccer, but I also like basketball.
Yeah, but you don't play soccer.
I don't play any sport because I don't have the physique du rôle, we can say. Well, maybe something simple like dinner at a good restaurant. I really love it. And maybe...
Restaurant?
Restaurant. And
what do we eat at the restaurant?
Sushi.
Okay.
Or, yeah, sushi. I really prefer from the distance because it can be easier to have a look at a glance of the situation, of the enemies and of the dangers. So I really prefer it from
So I
the
know
distance.
you.
Yeah, you know. The weirdest place was the bathroom. And
That's what I said.
And this is not weird, so I'm not weird at all. I'm really simple in that case because I like very common places to play games. Because I'm traditional in this case. You know everything.
I knew everything.
Maria and Gianluca, that was a sweet couple. I mean, she hit all the right answers. No couple therapy needed.
No.
Would you be able to do that?
No, I don't think so.
No, Mario staying silent after that sad loss against Italy. It's all right. No worries about that. But we could talk about a bit different stuff. The giveaway part. So there is something for you in here as well. You can once again win 3 iPhone 8s and 1 iPhone X. Just follow the links. Make sure to follow us then. Share, retweet, everything you need to do to get your tickets in for this giveaway. But besides the big giveaway, besides your chance to grab a new iPhone to play Arena of Valor on it, everywhere where you travel or you just chill out, there's also the in-game skin codes. You see them top right when we have the games on. Those are skin codes, so don't let them go away. Try to redeem them, grab some new skins for the Arena of Valor. We'll have another game on our hands. We'll do the Internet Celebrity Matches. Guys, you're both from Sweden. We had today already.
Yeah.
But predictions for the game.
You can start.
Yeah, predictions. I think Sweden will dominate.
That was a bold statement. All right.
I think it's going to be 2-0 for Sweden.
Why?
Why? They have the experience. They have very good players. They can adapt very fast. They have everything basically.
Right, simple answer. Last week they took the 3 points for Sweden, so maybe they're able to do that again. But before we start into the matches, we also have an interview with the influencer squad from Italy.
I'm a YouTuber in Italy and I have 1 million subscribers. I started playing Arena of Valor like not so much time ago, maybe a month ago, with my friends that they will be here during the day. But I like the game. I like the game, and it's very difficult. But if you play in group, it's really fun to play. My trip in Poland was great, but in delay. So I'm very happy to be here to represent my country with my friends. I think that this tournament will be important because there are a lot of influencers like Italian, Sweden, and the other country. So it's an opportunity to meet all the people of the world in one place for a tournament, and it's a good idea for this game to be known in the world.
But that's what's keeping people in the game, right? It's a challenge.
Yeah, everything is a challenge in this game. There's so much many stress you can do in this game. Go top with 3 people, jungle with 2 people. It's a lot you can do.
Yeah, we see today that you don't have to follow the meta in the game.
That's true. So many possible strategies and tactics in Arena of Valor, and with just the start of the NPT, I'm pretty sure that we see even more crazy stuff coming up for teams to win. But we also talked to the Swedish team.
Great. It was a very short flight, and the nature looks really great from the plane. About this tournament, I'm really excited to play because I'm the only girl. Well, of course I want to beat them all, no matter what, but I think it's great that they're involving girls into the tournaments as well. Opens a wider audience and makes everyone more involved. Oh, the reason to have been picked is I'm not a pro player. I am a YouTuber, and yeah, I guess that's why I was picked. Well, some of my friends told me about the game and I tried it out and it was great. I really liked it, and then I got this opportunity, and I think it's fun to play with other Swedish people. I'm usually not that much in Sweden. I go there a few times a year, but most of the time I live in Spain, so I'm quite international. But it's fun to be represented as like in your country, because I'm not used to being in Sweden, for example. I'm very international in a way, so it's nice. The game, I think it's really great because it's very addictive. I'm not really sure what it is that's so special about it, but it always, every time I go on my phone, like I see the app, of course, and I play a game. So it's like, it's really, I think it's just everything as a whole, the game. It's very nice visually, and it's really fun to play. All I did was really practice and practice. I also watched the last tournament on YouTube as well to see how the surroundings are and how they do it and everything, because I'm not very known to the game. I just got to know it a month ago or something, so I've been playing a lot, I've been practicing a lot, and hopefully that will have some difference on my performance. About who will win, well, of course Sweden will win. Actually, I have no idea. I have not seen how the other teams have performed yet. Now that we're playing against Italy, it's very, I don't know. I really don't know. It's just, we'll have to see.
We hope that hard practice will pay off for Sweden, and it seems like that's the way Sweden handles their lineup, right? You guys, you replaced Kingstar on the second week, and they replaced Incredible Orb, if I'm not mistaken, by Senna, who we just saw. Is that a common thing for you?
No, not at all. But we're good at adapters, and I think she's going to adapt as well. And as she said, she has been practicing very much this week.
So are there so many people in Sweden playing Arena of Valor that you got a huge pool of players and talents, influencers to choose from?
I guess so. More people are going to play the game.
Yeah, in general, Sweden is a good esport country, I guess.
Sweden is a good esports country, that's true. We saw that in many games, and we might also see that in Arena of Valor. But we are ready for the second game, for the game between the internet celebrities of Italy and Sweden. But for that, we need them in the arena.
Let's meet our Italian celebrity team. First to the stage, he calls his fans stallions. They call him the Italian Stallion. He is Blur. Next to our stage, the Maestro. He teaches everybody about everything. He is Marza. Completing the Melagotto family from Milan, we may see him as Grixie. This is Dread. Now some calm in our team of Ragers. He does reviews, he does news. He is Raiden. And completing the Italian lineup, another Rager. We've seen him break stuff. We hear him scream. This is Qua89. Now for our Swedish team, the streamer you know well, a pro from Hearthstone and StarCraft history, Forzen! She describes herself as a chicken lover, an animal lover, films with dogs and chickens and can kill it. Here, this is Sana. Now a famous caster, a pro of Dota 2, good at Heroes of Newerth, Drash! A winner of one of the biggest esports tournaments in history, the International 2013's Loader! And joining him and completing the Swedish lineup, another legendary player of Dota history, Aka! Welcome, Team Italy and Team Sweden celebrities!
We saw everyone enjoying that moment, coming onto stage, some new moves.
Yeah.
I mean, last time we only saw the French team going for that, but now Sweden's picking up. Your adaptability is crazy.
Yeah, they look very good, confident.
Yeah, that's something you guys should pick up for next time.
Yeah, we should, definitely.
Maybe.
We'll Maybe. We don't know if they will do it.
We do our thing. So.
Who knows? It will be Italy versus Sweden. Sweden needs those 3 points to make sure that they get their ticket to DreamHack Winter. It's Italy trying to pick up on their loss from week number 1, trying to get in points, make it happen. And the guys that will make the game happen is TJ and then Vision.
I'm pretty excited, as per normal. I'm always excited. Yeah. But I'm especially excited right now because the Swedes have just proven their adaptability and they are bringing in a new player. So the fact that they were able to change up, bring in some new walk-on poses, that shows that they're entirely ready to make the necessary adaptations.
Yeah, they've made the changes necessary in order to bring forth the inner beast inside them, and we'll have to see how this does fare for them in this influencer match.
Yeah, no, they said Swedes were good adapters, and I'm entirely eager to find out. The Italians, though, we haven't seen this influencer team yet. We don't know what it will be. It'll be pretty great. You know, it's not a great adapter. My pen.
Well, yeah, you are having a lot of trouble with that one. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what Italy brings to the table. We had some discussions with the players prior to the game, and there's a lot of great stuff that they have in mind there. So it's definitely going to be it's definitely interesting to see what they bring in terms of strategies.
Yeah, no, it should be pretty exciting. And the Italians as well, I spoke to them a bit. They're not feeling confident, but you know, that's where confidence comes from. You have nothing to lose, so you have everything to gain. And
yeah.
I think that is how the Italians are going to come out.
Well, the players were making a little bit of a funny joke there. They said, if the enemy is strong, we're going to run. If we're strong, they're going to run. So we're going to have to see which way this game goes here. But it's definitely interesting to see that the players really feel that way. They have nothing to lose here. And this brings the best out in the players because you can just play your game and not worry about anything.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. I am going to be quite curious to see the continuing adaptation over on the Swedish side, though, because they played, some of them have played 3 games on stage now, counting the Gamescom Invitational, way back a few months ago. So, with that in their belts, they should really start feeling comfortable in this situation. They could be the proest pro team in the non-pro tournament.
Yeah, they definitely are so strong. They have Loda and Naka, and their LAN experience comes into play here. They've been in the LAN environment, so they're really good at kind of in this situation what they should do, how the pressure gets handled by their team. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the LAN environment affects rest of the players.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be very, very interested as well to see if Blur, the Italian stallion, as he is apparently known, can show off his horse-like tendencies and run away with the game.
Well, it's definitely gonna have to be. It's definitely gonna have to be a fast game if they want to do that, as horses are really fast and powerful.
Really,
we're gonna have to see.
That's it. Okay. All right. I'm excited. The Arcanas are apparently being sorted out, I believe. Some of these players are taking a moment to make sure they have exactly the right pages coming onto these studio accounts. Maybe they didn't have time to set them up beforehand. So they'll be setting those up now, and once they're to their liking, I assume we'll be able to launch right into the draft. But it's very important that you get those Arcanas set up the way you like, because they make a small difference, but it can be noticeable.
Italian stallion is finding the horse power in the Arcanas there.
Wow. I'm done with you. I don't think we can come back from that.
But yeah, the Arcanas definitely help the players out because it gives them the ability to gain a little bit of an advantage over the enemies. If you have correct Arcanas, of course, you need to make those
for
pages.
your specific character. I mean, it is basically just customization, and well, we're going to see hopefully the customization they want from the beginning.
Yes, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they emphasize on. And it's one of those things that Arcanas really brings forth is the early game, right? It boosts the early game damage a little bit, or it gives you more tankiness in the early game phase when you really need it. So the Arcanas are definitely one way of actually trying to outplay your enemy even before the game starts.
I have a bit of a question, because I know you've played on stages with similar setups to this, and it's always kind of bugged me as a caster. I've never had to experience this. The situation where you have in-ear earpods and then the big sound-cancelling earmuffs over the top, does that hurt your ears?
No. Most of the time it doesn't. You have to have good in-ears. It is usually really comfortable wearing those and the in-ears, so I haven't had any problems with it, but I can definitely see how some people might have problems with it.
I mean, it's unrelated to the game, but just as a non-sequitur, it always kind of bugged me.
Well, considering the fact that if you have a disruptive factor in the real world, it can affect your gameplay here. So definitely being the most comfortable you can have is really a key in bringing forth that inner demon that could potentially carry away the game.
We're big on inner demons today. However, the outer demon that Sweden have to face is the fact that their non-pro team has now failed twice in a row to find 3 points on stage. And this begins to add up, I think, against the Swedish talent team, because they need to now, I don't want to say carry, but that is accurate. They need to carry the non-pro team, keep them relevant in this competition, and hope that later on that non-pro team can continue their gradual improvement. We are now into the pick ban phase, so you should be able to see picks and bans coming through. Early on, Murad ban, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, but we have to consider the fact here that if the Swedish non-pro, well, the influencer team does carry them through this week as well, Swedish team has had more time to practice, and then coming in next week facing UK, they've had more practice, and after that, we talked briefly in the beginning of the segment we had, is that the 12 points really are the golden place you want to be for qualifying to DreamHack. So nothing is lost for the Swedish players yet if their influencers can take this win home.
Yeah, it is now mostly on them, though. The map or the character draft is coming through. Ooh. What do you make of this? I can hear the O. Is that related to Dread's pickup here?
It is related to Italy pickups, because we don't see Malak as well as Crixie are those characters we don't see that often in the non-pro games.
Hey,
so it's definitely interesting.
You told the Italian stallion to bring out his inner demon, and I dare say he did.
Well, yeah, they're bringing the demons to the battlefield straight here from the get-go. The game one, they're bringing all that they have.
Against them, much more standard draft, I think, from the Swedes. I know they've been practicing hard with their non-pro team, definitely playing a few games here and there. during our little pre-game or pre-show situation over when we were eating lunch and earlier when people were kind of filtering around. There were a ton of good games being played, and the Swedes were leading the way. They had a competitive huddle going on.
Yeah, the Swedish side was practicing really hard before the games. So we're going to have to see if that practice does pay off here. Hopefully it does for them, because that keeps their hopes alive for this tournament going forward. Because right now, there won't be any more influencer matches for the Swedish side.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be only online matches, and it's going to be up to the Swedish players to take it from here.
We need to hope, well, the Swedes need to hope that the influencer matches influenced their team play in the future. Opposing them, we have had a full draft line out, and that's gotten progressively more sensible, more interesting, though, is fair. I was going to say more sensible because those bottom three characters, Mina, Valheim, etc., those make sense. We see those fairly often. But in the team composition?
Well, the team composition that they have, yeah, the 5 picks, it's looking really great in the sense of casting, because it is a really interesting composition here. We don't get to see it that often, but they bring it forth and they're confident and they can use it to potentially take game 1.
You can see the drafts on screen if you're curious about anything. Player inside running that Valheim. I'm going to keep an eye on that, the Valheim. Very, very capable early game DPS character, and I think it's crucial to point out the player inside is running a pretty awesome skin for Valheim, which I can only take to mean that he's played a lot of them.
Yeah, he could be played a lot of Valheim. Definitely practice makes perfect, and hopefully he has practiced a lot of Valheim, because Valheim is a really good character. We saw French using it last week in the mid lane, so that is definitely something to keep in mind as for now we have these lanes developing.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping an eye as well for the Italian side on how well they can hold these lanes, because I really do feel like they're going to lack late game power. As the game develops, they're going to be out jungled just with the composition they have. Do you disagree?
The Italian side?
Yes.
I would not say that's the case, because the further this game...
disagree.
The further this game goes on, the more Mina will come online, Malak will come online, these AD carries will ramp up their items. It's progressively going to get harder and harder for the Swedish side to do something about this, because they have mostly the early game damage. So I would say it's Swedish team has to perform to the highest standard in order to win the late game.
Well, we'll see how things progress. You can see actually an early amount of pressure from the Swedes. They're able to get a little bit of jungle, and they actually threatened Blur, the Italian stallion himself, bottom lane. Blur, though, he took issue with that, and now he'll reaggress.
Yeah, Blur is going to be there fighting with Marza, who are going on to try and Loda there. They're trying to find the fight. They can't really do it. And an interesting note here, Italian side has gone for a kind of unconventional 2-1-2, as they have Marza playing Jorn as the jungler, so we haven't seen that. So that is definitely an interesting thing that we are seeing in this game.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that's a new strategy. That is a weird strategy, and I look forward to seeing if Marza can make it work. Already Dietrich and Loda will be pressuring Blur bottom lane and finding a decent amount of success.
Top lane.
And player inside, though, they're having issues, but oh, here comes Forsen. He's going to create all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, the stun comes through. Player inside is being focused slowly but surely. He's going to fall here. Forsen with the last hit as they claim first blood. Swedish side takes the first blood, and now Spirit Sentinel off the back of that to further their gold lead, which is already 1,000 even further.
That was beautiful coordination. Forsen and Arcane came through up bottom, were able to isolate the player who just leaned out the teeniest bit too far and shut him down. And now Loda and Dietrich, they're pushing bot line.
Dre and Loda, yeah, are indeed putting turret pressure down on bottom. Blur is going to have a difficult time because he's lost so much life. Has to be careful that he doesn't get dove in the bottom.
You know, when they first said Italian Stallion, I thought it was pretty hilarious. Ever since then, though, it's grown on me. Like, it makes sense now. It's really fun to say.
Well, he is a stallion and his name is Blur, so he's fast.
Uh-huh. Okay. No, that makes sense.
So that could only go one way for Italy, and that's they take a fast victory over the Sweden.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be working just yet as Loda uses that eagle eye bottom lane on Telenas to shut down the tower. gain the first noticeable victory, I think, for the Swedes. They are now on the board with a significant gold lead. And Forsen and Ake, they're looking for Dread.
Forsen is going to put a little bit of damage down on the Dread. Doesn't really gank with invisibility. That's not something we see from these teams. Usually happening, because you usually want to gank with the invisibility that Wukong has. But they're going to do a pincer movement down on bottom. Blur is going to be caught out here. Forsen misses the stun. Is not going to be able to do it as Marza comes in for the backup, and Blur is going to be able to survive this, as Italian side now has to be careful. The Abyssal Dragon is being taken here by the Swedish side. They looked so good last week with the objective control, and they're keeping this pattern. They're controlling the objectives really well.
And Loda now goes in hard. He's initiating here on Telenas. The rest of his team will come through immediately after, and Marza's going to fall instantly.
Blur jumping away with Chuck to safety. Saves himself.
It was a Blur very far away from his teammate who needed help.
Yeah, it was literally a blur in that team fight as he disappeared in a blink of an eye. As Drake and Ake are going to come to middle. Dread takes 2 turns out. Will Ake be able to find the kill? As he is going to get the knockback, but they do not find the damage necessary to bring down Dread. Meanwhile, Wukong is going to pick a kill onto Malak down bottom.
Yeah, that's Blur, unfortunately, falling even after his great tactical retreat earlier. Dread will be holding the mid lane for now, but his tower's already taking damage, and Marza here might have a duel versus Forsen. This could be favourable if he's able to leverage his turret.
They need to rotate more people in there, because Marza cannot take a level 8 Forsen there. He's out-leveling, he's being out-leveled hard, so Jorn can't really take that 1v1.
I'll trade you my level 8 Forsen for your level 6 Marza.
Marza is level 5 just now, hasn't quite reached level 6 yet, as Dread is gonna back
bargain
off.
then.
You can't make that bargain, as Dread is gonna be focused here, but Drake does not get the knockback necessary for Ake to follow that one up, as Swedish side are grouping up in the middle lane. They're looking for the aggression here, as Marza is going to be initiated on under turret. Dread's going to be stunned up by the ultimate from Ake. Will they find a kill? Ake's going to dive this. Will he get it? Yes, he will, as Ake is on the run. Loda now, as well as the Swedish side, are looking at this mid-tier 1 tower.
That was a great initiation. They're going to follow up with another one. Blur, he comes through entirely too late. He's able to bail out. Once again, he has no time for being caught. But look at this top lane here. Flaren's side and his buddy, I dare say they're a bit aggressive, and I think the Swedes agree with me.
Yeah, Swedish side have rotated people up top now. The Metamorphosis is going to run out. They're trying to use that one in the middle to try to catch Blur, who was literally a blur. Again, running away with the Shock Ultimate, getting to safety, so he was able to escape there. As Telenas has to be careful in middle, because there's 3 people there.
There's pressure hard, and Crunch will go down. Dietrich, Forsen are there, grabbing that kill. Now player inside has almost no hope of holding this tower 1v3, and actually he's getting flanked on. He needs to run now.
The pincer movement by Forsen is going to be there. Stunned by Illumia comes through. Ake with a beautiful timing there. They find a kill. Forsen picks that one up, but he's going to lose his life in the process, as he's giving the shutdown streak to Valheim.
That does give a nice little gold bonus, but the Swedes elsewhere are being carefully clinical. And, well, Forsen's clinic is in full operation, and I think it's for profit. So, unlike the Swedish healthcare system, they're making a tremendous profit as their gold lead builds up and they continue to leverage this map control.
Yeah, Swedish side is looking like surgeons here. They're literally being so precise on how they do the enemy in the jungle, as they are trying to find the monetization lead, and taking those buffs of the enemy definitely helps them a lot, because those are not going to be in the hands of the enemy.
Dietrich will need to play careful here, but the top line is where the real threat is. I'm curious, Sana, you've got the teeniest bit aggressive. Just looking at the mini-map, maybe you're a couple miles ahead of the rest of your team.
Oh, Forsen and Ake are going to come in. The Italians out of zone. Marza falls so quickly. The damage is absolutely insane coming through from Ake and Forsen. They're going to dive even further. They find the second kill. This time around, Forsen is not going to lose his life to the turret. Meanwhile, middle lane, Drake is fighting versus Dread here, who does fall in the mid lane, as Swedish side across the map, they're picking up these kills.
I'd like to take everything back. I criticized Sana for maybe getting a bit too aggressive. It turns out it was all part of the plan. It was a bait. Forsen comes through, they pick up the kills, and now they're looking for another 2 towers.
Yeah, they're trying to find the gold here necessary for them to advance even further. We can see 8,000 gold lead as once again kills are being picked up in the top and middle part of the map here as they take a middle tower here, and that is all outer towers out for the Swedish side.
Yeah, and it looks like Forsen might go down, but he's found the trade arcade, though he needs to be cautious. This could get very bad indeed, and I think it has. He can't get out in time, and now the Italians are back on the board.
Yeah, Italians with a great initiation there. They find a couple of necessary pickoffs, but at the same time, across the map, Swedish side have split up. They're pushing down bottom. They get the tower on the bottom now, and they pick up that money, and even further their gold lead here, which is growing slowly but steadily towards the 10k part.
Yeah, Loda and Datrid will double down on that tower, double down on the kills that they were able to occupy, grab this Abyssal Dragon completely for free. And well, at this point, I think it's safe to say there's a little bit in the bank for the Swedes.
Yeah, the Swedish side are looking so rich now as Dread is going to be caught out. The Eagle Eye out attacks by Loda. We saw Loda last week on Telanas as well, so strong. Once again, just performing really well here with that character. So it's definitely interesting to see Loda performing to such a high standard on Telanas.
Loda's been terrifying on this character, particularly for somebody who hasn't really played much of him. So I'm quite excited to see a player on the side, though. He's dangerous situation.
Yes, a couple of players from the Italian side get picked off from up top as the Swedish side, once again with a great rotation, a quick one at that. They find those couple of kills, and the Italian side are looking for a redemption. Forsen is going to jump in. Marza, oh my god, that damage from Forsen instantly annihilates Marza. No return from Italy. The shock's gonna come out from Blur, and they cleave as well, but it's not gonna connect onto anybody. Swedish side is looking for this Dark Slayer as Blur is gonna be caught out here. He's gonna fall. Oh my god, Swedish side with impeccable execution. They find the kills, and they're on to Dark Slayer now.
I didn't realize Forsen was one of the pros. Dominant damage by him time and time again, and they're going to get Dark Slayer as well. Dark Slayer falls, granting the buff, the damage increase, the slight regen to his entire team, and now they look for this team fight 5v3 with the Dark buff.
They're looking to go in, the stun coming through from Lomi, the ultimate lands onto Gro, who's gonna go down. Dread is in the midst of the enemy team, he's gonna find damage as Dre's gonna jump in. The Metamorphosis onto both running players, player inside, and Forsen is gonna be able to jump or will clean that one up. Blur is the last man surviving. There's 5 members from the Swedish side. They're gonna clean it up and quite possibly get this turret here.
This could be game. They're going in now. They're considering that final base. Loda will go and get tons of damage actually with the Eagle Eye. They're just waiting on these minions. This is basically game. Here goes the team trying to contest, and they will be able to finally take down the base. The Swedes look dominant in game 1, 22-4. And it's a Swedish flag flying over the first game.
Yeah, Swedish side looking so strong. Like last week, they start off really strong. We're gonna have to see how the Italian side does redeem themselves in game 2.
And they look thrilled, as you can see on stream. Loads of celebration, champagne everywhere. Actually, kind of a muted response from the Swedes. They came here to do business. Slight smiles allowed, but that's all. They're dead serious.
Yeah, they're really focused on the game and task at hand. They need to bring those 3 points home for the Swedish side.
I think it's actually pretty impressive how dead serious the Swedish team are here.
They're not, well, they are enjoying their victory, I would guess, because they did pull off that game 1 victory, and they could continue with this.
Yeah, well, Renee, you're over there on the desk. Hopefully you saw that game 1. I have to ask you, do you think there's anything that can stop the Swedes now?
I'm pretty sure that there is something that could stop the Swedes, even if it might be hard. We saw Loda carrying his team to another win, the first win in this BO3 series, but from the start was once again them taking first blood, making sure that they get the objectives. What an early Abyssal Dragon that was below 4 minutes.
Yeah, they got the jungle. Both jungles. Forsen was jungling bot, top, and he got help from Ake to get the first blood, early dragon, and then 2 towers.
Yeah, it seems like a successful thing to do is to harass the jungle first thing.
It definitely helped that Loda brought all that range with Telenas once again. That was the hero he played on week 1 on game 2 when he said he wants to go serious. He picked Telenas, made sure that Sweden takes 3 points. But in early to mid game, it was actually Forsen making sure that there are kills on the board for Sweden. He was the guy ganking mid, top, making sure that there are kills. It's really a good connection, right?
Yeah, it's very good for. It was a very good game from Forsen. As I said, he was jungling. He had the control of both jungles, and they could roam around everywhere where he wanted.
Yeah, they was prepared. They had a good lineup. You know, Sanna was over there top, hugging the tower, like she's never gonna leave it. And
we know that defensive play can lead to you getting a lead on either Echo or at least not feeding the enemy. But we saw her baiting for the rest of the team, like baiting on top lane, then Force and Loda, they all jumped in saying, hey, we pick up the kills if we leave them to us. Was it part of the tactics of the Swedish team?
Yeah, I think it was a very good tactic for them, and it was tactical. Sanna was baiting for Forsen and Ake. The first blood came from Forsen and Ake, because Sanna was baiting on top lane.
And we saw in all the fights went in favor of Sweden throughout the whole game, more or less, and from now was snowballing, making sure that there are objectives, something that really all learned in week 1. It is important, if you get a kill, make sure you also grab objectives. Get the Abyssal Dragon. Then it was actually Loda and Senna. I think Senna was starting Dark Slayer for the team. They were very low after the team fight, but still they managed it. They made sure that regeneration of HP was high enough to not die to the Dark Slayer. Was there anything Italy could have done at that moment to turn this around?
No. I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
They had too high level. They got out-leveled by the Swedes.
Maybe they can change something to the next game like we did.
Yeah, it is about adaptability, and you can see it on your screen. It was Loda picking up the MVP, followed by more or less the secondary carry, Forsen, making sure that they take game number 1 in this series against Italy here in the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament. Guys, wouldn't you love to have Loda on your team? I mean, I know he won the international, but it's great, at least for me, to see that other people are making the part. It was not Loda all day long. He was part of the victory. Of course, he brought his team that way. But was everyone else playing along as well?
Yeah, they played their part, all of them. Played very good together.
Yeah, you have to win as a team.
Winning as a team of 5 in Arena of Valor. We just finished the first match of the BO3 series. Sweden is leading, and we'll be back after a short break. back to game number 2 in our Arena of Valor Non-Pro Tournament 2017. It's week 2, it's game 2, it's also game 2 of the series, so everything about 2 right now. But we need to talk about Italy. How can they have a comeback on the game after such a strong, dominant performance of the Swedish squad?
They need to focus more in jungle, get the level started, and then get the aggressive play working.
Maybe they can pick Talanas.
Take it away from Loda immediately.
Yeah, because Sweden had a huge leverage taking down towers with Talanas. And they pushed the towers real hard, diving.
Could there be a potential ban?
Yeah, there could be. Could be ban Talanas and then pick maybe Batman or something to change the game plan.
Do they want to slow down the game or do they want to fasten the pace right now? Does it seem hard for me to predict if the Swedish team is...
They have to defend the jungle because Sweden was all over still in the jungle and they couldn't get enough gold.
Do you think map control could be the first thing? But let's be honest, every time you need to change something, you need a starting point. Is it just hero choice, like picks and bans? Or is it more like, whatever, get control of the map and then see if you can take fights that are more favorable to your squad?
Actually both. You need to have like control of your own jungle, so you don't get roamed by Forsen or any other, by Ake, Loda. Yeah, they will take advantage of it.
Don't look over there, you're not playing this time.
No,
I saw it.
no.
Just looking at the couch all day long. Hey, could I actually dive in there? You know, I did that during rehearsals. I was playing for your team. That was kind of
Can we do it again?
I want to get in the game as well, but I know that TJ and Envision want to do that, and they will bring you game 2 of the series.
I want to get in, Renee. And let's be honest, if we're going to get into anything, it's going to be Renee's gameplay. Because he's talking like he single-handedly carried a team to victory. And I can confirm, as somebody who's played multiple games with him, he is always the weakest link.
You guys should sort out your camaraderie.
1v1 me.
But moving on to this game.
Yes,
as a
unfortunately.
more important topic.
It's questionable. Italy versus Sweden, game 2 in the influencer matchup, and a very interesting one at that. Italy, we talked about it at the analyst desk. All they need to do is remove Loda's Telenas, and this becomes 8 times more interesting. Well, because Loda has shown such skill at Telenas, I think it would be fascinating to push them off of it.
That is definitely true. Loda has been playing out of his mind on Telenas, but all things considered, Ake on L'Oreal as well has been huge impact in these team fights. He's played really well last week as well as this week on the mage in the middle lane. He's done such an incredible job at keeping the enemies at low HP.
What do you think of that ban by Italy?
Well, I can tell you it's an interesting ban in the sense that it doesn't exist. Because they have a certain strategy in mind, as we see Valheim first pick coming through instantly. So Italian side are really confident with what they're going to go.
They are so confident. They feel no need to throw out a ban. Italy knows what they're coming for today. Well, they're picking for it.
Whoa, there's an Natalia pick. We don't see that often, so I'm going to eat my words here. No, you don't. We're not going to see Natalia. Crixie coming through from Dread once again. Was left without a kill last game. So Dread trying to do work this time around on Crixie again. But yeah, the Butterfly is kind of an interesting pick, in the sense that it doesn't come through that often.
We did sort of accuse Loda of being a one-trick, and he's taking that to heart. Kilgrath coming through now. As a change of pace from the normal Telenas, and
I'm gonna not say it's his hero. They probably pick it up for a strategy because they still have the last pick, so they can still switch around characters. So there's definitely something that could happen here, as we have the second AD carry for the Italian side coming through.
It's gonna be Joker showing up, and I'm quite happy to see the continued dominance, I think, of Joker as a marksman. We didn't know where he would fit in the meta. He's been solidly viable, not overpowered, not underpowered, just right.
Yeah, Joker is on just a sweet spot in the character pool. He isn't incredibly overpowered, but at the same time he's really strong, so he can be utilized a lot in certain compositions, as well as the killing joke range. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's that rocket that you frequently see tearing up, I think, easily the width of 1.5 turrets. Let's say that.
Yes, it is absolutely long range. It is basically 1.5 turret range.
And it doesn't do turret damage. You can't use it to really whittle down objectives. You can use it to whittle down opponents, and maybe we'll see a bit of that here as we do get into it. We've seen the entire draft. How do you see this working out? Do you think there's been enough of a change here by the Italians that they can pull this game?
I think Italians have gone basically a standardized thing. I'm much more interested in the Swedish side because they have 4 melee heroes and Vera.
Yeah.
So that is definitely an interesting lineup coming through from the Swedish side.
Do you think that might be enough to pull it back? Do you think that excellent draft choice by Sweden might be enough to pull it back for Italy?
Well, I'm not too sure. We're going to have to see the execution that's coming through for these players, but it's definitely not making it easy for the Swedish side here.
Well, if you want to see the pics, you can see them on the screen right now. As all the players have fully locked in, and we will be getting into game as we speak of it. So, you have to call it.
Get ready.
Sweden, Italy, game 2. Who is it?
Sweden.
Okay, not a moment's hesitation. You know what? I'm rooting for Italy. I've decided that Italy's going to win this one.
Swedish side has looked so dominant in the games that they played in the influencer matches, so I'm definitely going to say Sweden, even though they have kind of an unconventional lineup, they're still looking so strong.
Forsen already deep in the enemy's jungle, and Marza doesn't even check the bush, so... Well, I suppose why would he? There's no reason to expect that kind of pressure.
Marza's going to be in for a surprise here once...
This is like a
the
nature
Dark
documentary.
Knight, what was... Yeah,
When will the Predator pounce?
Dark
Wild
Knight
Forsen
from the jungle comes in. Is he going to find a kill? He's going to find a buff. Forsen with the blue buff. Still, Marza finds himself in trouble. That's first blood. Pre-1 minute. Crazy stuff coming through from the Swedish side.
Oh, Forsen, the wild Forsen from the bush did pounce. Now he's taking a bit of pressure. He will still maybe be able to pick up that jungle cap. He thought about it. He'll be able to pick it up and back off. And, well, that's already looking quite good for Sweden. My pick might have been doubtful. Ooh, Loda. Okay, they're all going deep here. What on earth is this? Moments into the game. Forsen's already deep within the enemy jungle. Loda and Ake are considering a tower dive. Now Marza's going to go down again. Oh, no.
On such a bad spot. The double jungle from Swedish side coming through. They find a kill onto Marza. That's the second one coming through. And I just want to say, Swedish side actually ran double invade with Killcross and Batman. They both took the enemy jungle buffs. So that is definitely an interesting development as Blur is going to get ganked up top. Drake as well as Loda trying to find a kill. Will they find it? Few more auto attacks will do it, as they won't find the kill up top.
Loda and Daytrich, they tried to make a horse meat sandwich there from the Italian stallion, but as with a history of Swedes putting horse meat in things, much like IKEA, you know about that?
No.
Oh, well, IKEA put horse meat in their meatballs, but it was sorted. They were slapped down, just like the Swedes in top lane were just now.
Yeah, the Italian side Blur has to be careful up top because Valheim is one of those characters that does not have a built-in escape, so you definitely have to be careful with how he plays because if he's out of position, he might get ganked pretty easy.
Forsen, oh, you need to be careful because you do have 3 people here. If Loda and Forsen are going to go down, it would be now, but Loda has no fear. The man charges right into the midst of 3. Arcade comes through to help him out, and this looks deadly.
Marza's going to fall down here with the Swedish side, looking for more Batman on the ultimate streak. Forsen is bringing his team home. Last game, he was 11-2. Insane scoreline for him. And once again, he's showing that he's so strong jungler for the Swedish side.
Loda will be here to kind of hold off Blur a bit in top lane. But you can see the pressure is still here in the bottom. Ake and Forsen still just pinning Dread and the rest of the Italian side behind their tower.
Yeah, Blur is going to get ganked up top. Meanwhile, that is going to happen. So Loda and Drake finally pick up the kill onto Valheim. As I was speaking before, if Blur overextends, there's no way he's going to be able to escape those ganks.
Okay, and Forsen will go back to keep their jungle going, but you can see that pressure in the top lane. That tower might very well be going down, and just look at the gold lead, look at the kill lead. This is already looking excellent for the Swedes.
Yeah, 2.7 thousand in the lead, 4 minutes in. It's an insane lead. Dark Knight is gonna come in. Will he find the Joker pickoff? Player inside is gonna run away. We had that classic clash in the bottom. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Groy is gonna find himself in a difficult spot. Ake. Oh, the knock-up by Dread might be enough.
Very well done.
And Groy is gonna be able to get away from this engagement. Just sliver of HP.
But the second there's the sliver of HP and the sliver of hope, well, it all gets undone. Sana, though, he's going to get tagged, or she's going to get tagged to the bottom line. Player inside does manage to hold that bottom turret. And the pressure, though, behind the tower again. Forcing it, Ake. Oh, no, Forcing, that's a wall, but it's okay, because Marta might go down.
That is a reset for Marza. He's going to be able to jump onto Ake as well. Will they find a kill?
No.
Yes, that's another reset. Marza is going absolutely insane. The Moonfall is going to go through. Loda is falling lower. He's going to fall. And Marza with another reset. They're going to find 4. And just like that, the scoreline has equaled out. It's insane.
Look at the gold
from
lead.
Italy.
Look at the gold lead. Italy is right back in this. All it takes is Marta. Maybe they got a bit too aggressive. They take Marta for granted. They go, oh, we can grab that kill. Well, turns out this time you can't, although they will be able to clean it up immediately afterwards. Dietrich comes down and finds a kill under tower.
Yeah, Dre coming through with a kill. Great shutdown there once again from Dre. He is going to be able to shut down Marza, who literally last fight was looking so insane. Get some of that shutdown bonus coming his way.
And that will put the Swedes in the driver's seat again, but yeah, top tower is looking a little bit interesting here because Blur is caught by 3. Forsen coming through as well. They should be able to find this with no trouble at all.
Yeah, not any trouble there from the Swedish side. They had 3 up against Valheim that does not have an escape. Really difficult spot for Valheim because Valheim only has 1 stun. You can stun out 1 person, but that's about it. And you had Cricknock, Kilgraf, as well as Batman all going down onto him. As we have Marza in the jungle, he's going to find some opposition. Forsen, this time around, will be able to clean her up as a Butterfly does fall.
See that mid-tower now under pressure. Forsen, oh, he might be able to find something.
Oh, Forsen with
he finds
double, and he's going to survive.
Oh, Loda, the great team plays. Loda goes in there and attracts the turret's aggro. Well, the tower is aggro so that Forsen can get away, and now they'll take the tower with no trouble at all.
Forsen escapes with the sliver of HP there, just barely surviving, and Forsen is literally playing out of his mind in this series for the Swedish side. He's looked so good as player inside is going to be caught out in the bottom lane. He's going to find trouble. 4 members from the Swedish side as Forsen is going to come in as well. That's a full Swedish lineup looking for some trouble down bottom.
And, well, it goes about as well as you can expect. 4 Swedes on 1 poor Italian. Clean it up, although Loda may be under pressure. Blur's doing a nice job here of just holding, but it's not enough.
Yeah, the Hellbat, the Mesmerize coming through, stunning him up. Ake with a great play there as Swedish side are now rotating onto the enemy jungle. Groy is going to find himself in a lot of trouble. He's going to fall. Marza is the next one in the midst of 4 enemies. He's going to be dead. Red buff gets picked up, and now the Italian side is coming in. Dread with the Quixie. Will he be able to find anything? The knock-up and the Moonfall is going to be used. Will Dread kill Dread before there's any more damage done? Yes, they will actually. Forsen is going to come in with 10 HP and clean it up, and player inside with the Joker is going to get cleaned down in the bottom lane.
Do you think anyone's told the Swedes that this isn't their jungle?
I believe no, because they're literally acting like it's theirs, and it literally is theirs.
Yeah, Blur is learning the price of that. Sana tries to teach him something about land regulations, but Loda will be there for the protection. Maybe not. Loda just ditches her.
Oh, there's no luck for Gray. On the Orbar, he can't get the stuns through, and now they've forced the chase a little bit too far. Forsen coming in from the side. The Dark Knight's going to come out. Will the Italian side recognize Batman's there? Forsen's going to find Gray on that Ormar. He's going to fall. Loda is going to be in the bush, and now 2 of the Swedish members have found 3 kills down on the bottom lane. As for now, Italian team is going to retreat.
Poor pressure there, but it worked out. The Swedes were still able to make that out. I felt really bad for Sana, though, because they were taking a fight, and they're like, Loda's right there. They'll be able to protect me. Everything will be great. It'll be a nice 2v1. And then Loda just lit out. He was gone.
Yeah, there was a quick retreat from this remaining Swedish members, but they were able to turn it around after that.
Worked out.
It was a necessary sacrifice there.
Well, the sacrifice was rewarded, and the Swedes, no matter who they just sacrificed to, are able to make it work. Mike Gollum goes down, it looks like, again to Forsen, who is, again, looking really, really good in this game.
Yeah, the might buff coming through is going to help them out a bunch. The slow that comes through. We have Batman engaging in the middle lane. Gro is going to find himself in a lot of trouble. Forsen on the sideline. He's going to find himself in trouble. He's going to fall. Italians finally find Forsen, and now we have Kilbroth coming in. He's cleaning up. He's doing so much damage. Oh my god! The damage from the Swedish side. Triple kill for Loda's player inside is trying to find his fight. He can't really do it. And Swedish side once again with a quick cleanup.
Daedric down bottom lane, or top lane, sorry, will be able to grab that. Easy tower. And now this mid tower will be the next, presumably, to fall. Player inside, running for his life, but...
Oh, the ultimate.
Yeah, he goes in very aggressively. It almost actually works out, but Daedric just kind of swoops in from below. This tower should go down immediately after.
Yeah, the pincer movement by Drift was there, so they were able to clean him up. And now Butterfly falling as well. Marza is not having a good time in the middle lane. Well, meanwhile, Italy is going to come in. Will they find the necessary kills? Sana is on the run, growing in the midst of the enemies. Once again, 4 people surrounding him as they find a kill. Forsen is not going to find the ultimate dash onto Blur as he's falling lower and low. The turret picks up the kill as Forsen is going to fall for the Swedish side.
Oh, no. Sana, I think Sana and Arcade just got another one for free, and they're just going to, again, go back, keep dominating their jungle, and we're going to take a quick pan down to bottom lane, where these minions are fighting very hard.
Minions going hard at it now. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, the tower is going to fall, so the Swedish side claiming the high ground tower in the middle lane. They get that one down. That means the super minions are going to come through the middle lane.
Sana and Daedric need to be careful here, or not, never mind, no care needed.
The damage coming through from Swedish side is so much. Italians are on the run. Dread with a moonfall. Will it happen? No, it won't. Blur is gonna be focused. Loda's gonna keep the chase. Oh, beautiful snipe by Ake. What a beautiful Hellbat comes through, snipes off the one member of the Italian team as player inside.
More
now
disgusting.
Is gonna be dove at the base.
More disgusting than pineapples on pizza. The Swedes take another game. That's 2-0 in their favor. Last one was dominant. I don't know what the phrase is for this one. Swedes wipe the floor with the Italians.
Yeah, there's no way to sugarcoat this. The Swedish team, 33-8 kills coming through. Oh. Absolutely insane performance coming through from these guys. Forsen, he was 11-2 last game. This time around, pulling 16-4. He was doing insane work on that Batman.
Sana not picking up a kill, but fulfilling their role as a tank. Plenty of assists. And well, it worked very well. The Swedes were worried maybe they wouldn't be able to pick up a game, but they picked it up.
Yeah, the Swedish side really coming through with their draft that they've made. They executed their strategy exactly how they wanted, because they got the early invasion with the double buff basically going to them, as well as Marza falling for first blood on that blue buff as well. So everything really went for the Swedish side.
Yeah. A dominant victory again for the Swedes, and I know Renee's sitting there with 2 people who will be very happy about that.
Sweden taking the series 2-0 against Italy. Guys, we need to talk about the pick and bans, because Loda on Kilgrove, that was like Loda step aside, the Dark Knight returns, Forsen picking Batman.
Yeah. Same again, they took the jungle. I think it was Forsen and Loda this time. They took both jungles, the enemies and their jungle. Then they just roamed around like the first game.
It was a wild Forsen appears, waiting in the bush, then taking that buff. Is there anything they should have expected on the Italian side?
I don't know, but Sweden decided to go without an ADC. Just they destroyed the Italian jungle.
All right, or just Aki. He was with Forsen. We saw Forsen carrying a lot, but one of the guys that was in there, not always on the screen, was Aki, being part of nearly every kill. But still, Forsen picked up the first 3 kills of the game, trying to get the game rolling for Sweden. But then there was one scene where Drat actually saving with a knock-up his teammate on mid. There was amazing communication, making sure that the skill comes out at the right moment to save his teammate. But why didn't we saw more of that from the Italian team?
I think they went one by one, the Italian team, and then it's hard to get the teamwork going. So they got picked apart from top and bottom, basically.
They have to work on their team play, I guess.
Yeah. So easy for Shelby. Just say, work on their team play, then you get the win, get the game. But there was, at 4:30, there was a situation where things have gone quite differently to the previous one. It was Forsen overextending a bit, Italy picking up a kill. Was that their only chance to turn around the game?
Yeah, they should have gone more to their jungle, and then punish Forsen and Loda for being in their jungle.
That's a good point.
His player inside, he was the one actually that was most time alive for his team, still on the Italian side playing Joker, but let's be honest, for him it was more the killing Joker at the end, because still Sweden took it with an easy win and very, very short matches. What happens actually if someone comes up and drags the game longer against the Swedish lineup?
Yeah, that's a really hard question, because we haven't seen the Italian team make it to like 50-minute mark. It was the game went really fast for the Swedes, both games.
It looks like they're going with much attack damage. But maybe if maybe if the match will go on longer, they can rebuild their builds and build more armor.
It is the second time in our arena that we split the points. It's Italy taking the first game, the non-pro game, and that was Sweden picking up 3 points in the influencer game. Will we ever see 6 points being delivered to one team on just one weekend?
I don't think so. Not sure about it.
No, I don't think so either.
They're really strong.
We see it. Look at that. Aki, he picked up MVP. Like I said, it was kind of quiet role on Vera, but he made it. 12.9 for him. 5 kills, 14 assists, but Forsen 16 kills. It just shows that the Swedish lineup has more to show than Loda, right? To me, it felt like Loda wasn't that much part of the game like it was on game one. Was it only due to him choosing a different hero? He still played good, but is it that he can have such a big impact only with Telenas?
I don't know actually, because in this game, Forsen took over the game in the jungle. I'm not gonna take anything bad out of Loda, because he was really good also, but Forsen was dominating this game.
Yeah, and Aki did some very good ultis finishing the enemies.
What is that, like if you see a team relying on Batman, which is an early game hero, is there any pick against Batman that works quite well to defend that?
Maybe Shagnar to slow him down a bit. Take tanky heroes, because he's doing very much damage in the early game.
Maybe Raz to kick him away in a team fight.
And kick him away in the team fight? What about those backline attacks that you tried on a game against Italy? Was it something that could have worked for them on this match? We never really saw them trying to work around the Swedish front line.
I don't know actually what they could have done in this game, because they left the jungle open, Italian people. So
you have to practice a bit more, I guess.
Practice definitely helps.
Yeah.
We know that. Every team needs to improve, and it's the Swedish internet celebrity lineups unbeaten so far in our arena. They have been here two times. They took the win 2-0 against their opponents, and we got Matt with the interviews.
Thank you very much, Rene. Yes, what a good game that was. A little bit quicker, perhaps, than maybe we wanted to see. I know our casters were hoping it would go to 3 games as well. Marcy, you were saying to me as you were waiting to come out on stage before we got into that, you were saying, oh, I flew in today, it's a long day.
Yes.
They go a bit easy on me. No, they can't.
No matter what.
Yeah. That second game in particular, Forsen caught you out from the brush in the first minute of the game, and then he ganked you again a minute later. That's pretty rough way to start a game.
The really problem was that my friend Blur can't ban because the phone was blocked. So we knew about Batman was so hard to counter because they are strong to use it.
We actually thought that you had a special strategy, you know, not banning anything so that you would get...
It's not a strategy, or at least not a good strategy.
It's a show of bravado to go, we don't need to ban anything. No, please don't attack us. We want to ban everybody. Yeah, that was a bit difficult.
It was not, because after the first game, the difference between us is incredibly, you know...
Very wide, yeah. So you have a lot of praise for these guys then. That was a good win for the Swedes.
Of course,
yeah.
they are so strong. They are more strong than us. So you're welcome to win. You know.
You're welcome to it.
Thank you, thank you.
Was a good win, very strong win. Our analysts over there with Rene were saying that maybe the first game was more of a feature for you. The second one not so strong. We can talk about headline numbers about Forsen with so many kills. But how did you feel about your own performance in that?
I think my performance was okay. We tried to switch it around a bit. I wanted to try out a new hero that I've been keeping my eyes on, and you know, if Forsen gets his Batman, it makes the game quite easy. I think the hero is, in my opinion, when
Just tell everybody who it is you're talking about.
I'm talking about Batman.
Yeah. No, your one.
My one.
Yeah. You're saying you were experimenting and trying something new.
Yeah, I was playing the big fish. He's like, every time you pick this guy in pubs, people will like report you and tell you you're a retard for picking this guy. So I've been trying to make him work. We thought that the game 2 would have been a little bit harder, but as you said, like Forsen's Batman was just making that game far too easy for us, I think.
Yeah. So that's both of our games here at the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament. Thank you very much, guys. A bit of a handshake between you both, I feel.
Thank you.
Great win for Sweden. So let's take you to how this tournament all looks now after week 2. It's 6 points at the top for Italy, Germany and Sweden. France and Spain are both on 3 points as well. And the UK looking to get any points on the board, but they've only played one game, their game online. They didn't get a match this week. They've only played one game. I'm not just defending them because they're from the UK. So that's 2 weeks down for the NPT. Make sure you join us back here for week 3 next week. It'll be 4 p.m. UK time and 5 p.m. Central European time. In here in the studio in Poland. Basically as big an international rivalry as you can get across most sport in Europe. Germany are coming here looking to secure their spot at DreamHack Winter, and their opposition is the UK, looking for any points they can get on the board. Germany against the UK. You know that is going to be a scrap, so make sure you join us here in the studio next Saturday, and we'll bring you week 3 of the Arena of Valor non-pro tournament. Let us know your thoughts, hashtag AOVNPT. And of course, if you aren't playing the world's biggest mobile game, you need to download that from the App Store or Google Play now. Thanks very much for joining us. Thanks to everybody who's worked so hard on the show. And we'll see you next Saturday for more of this from week 3 of the AOV NPT.